trans and I'm gay. Logan Paul is my savior. KSI
right
is my
time.
favorite.
Right on time. Here
I want to
is.
watch Lil Nas X.
The real
I like
streamer
what's
of
on the trending
show.
page.
The real one.
Prawn is good. Beat my meat. Lock me down. Inject me. Inject again. I'm gay, trans, and I am boosted. Fauci is my savior. Hillary is woke. She-Hulk is my favorite movie.
Just broke up with my loser boyfriend, let's go.
Congratulations, Chatter, for breaking up with your loser boyfriend. That's huge. It's Sunday. It's the holy day. It's God's day. And the Lord woke me for some Sunday service. I'm legit so scared for the next 4 years, chat. Please give me some hope. That's what we do here, is hopium. I'm the hopium distributor. One in chat if you love women. I get what makes them a loser, but what makes them a boyfriend? That's a good question. I heart women. First stream experience hits different. Yeah, it's Sunday. We're here. We're catching up. Welcome in, everybody. First timers, long timers, old timers, all timers. How we doing? Hassan watched that absolutely insane anti-woke video game guy. I saw that. I saw a little bit of that this morning. Hassan was watching this anti-woke gamer guy that just kept calling everything gay and homo. Which, like, it's just a little redundant at that point. And I mean, yeah, that's like the level we're at with, like, gaming content creators, like game reviewers or whatever, like anti-woke. Yeah, definitely closeted. Every game that was good had to do with like balls and men. It was if it was satire, it would genuinely be genius. But I don't think it was. I can't even, like, it's one of the worst videos I've ever seen. Because it's like real. That guy makes real videos. And every time it's like, this game is woke and it's gay and it's gay and homo because it's for kids and kids don't play video games, which is genuinely not true.
Schoolwork has
It's just
got me really
bullshit.
stressed out. But so glad to be here with y'all. Minore tre love this community and hope everyone has a good week.
Hey, Sheshe Specks of Marlight for the 10 months. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Hope your schoolwork goes okay. Yeah, the Pope is currently getting shit on by conservatives. The Pope rebukes Trump over migrant deportations and refutes J.D. Vance's theology. That's so awesome. Get fucked. Excommunicate his ass. In a strongly worded letter to U.S. Catholic bishops, I talked about this a little last night. Francis wrote that it's important for Catholics to disagree with any measure that identifies the illegal status of some migrants with criminality. Francis also said that deporting people who in many cases have left their own land for reasons of extreme poverty, exploitation, and persecution, quote, damages the dignity of many men and women and of entire families and places them in a state of particular vulnerability and defenselessness. The letter also appears to reply to remarks by Vice President Vance in which he said people should care for their family, communities, and country before caring for others, which is just vile. Francis instead wrote that people should meditate on love that builds a fraternity open to all without exception. This is, yeah, I mean, we live in a rare era to have like a woke pope. In this way, like, he's accepting of trans people, he's accepting of gay people, he's accepting of you know, Palestinians especially. Has spoken out against the genocide. I mean, he's a real Christian. That's in that sense, right? Real Catholic. But like, he has also covered up sexual abuse in the Catholic Church like every other pope has. So, you know, L on that one. Lynn's S, thank you for the
Happy
17
Sunday service,
months.
speed and pray.
17, Mamma Mia, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But hey, I'll take it. Lope. Yeah, I saw this too. This was terrifying. It seems like the ceasefire is still like holding as much as it was before, which is barely. Israel has definitely still bombed and killed people in Gaza with gunfire as well since the ceasefire supposedly began. They just are allowing Palestinians to go to their homes. But yeah, they did do a mass prison transfer yesterday of illegally detained Palestinian detainees and Israeli hostages. The Israeli prison service dresses Palestinian prisoners in clothes bearing the Star of David symbol and the phrase, "We do not forget and we do not forgive." Yeah, this shit is disgusting. Why would you use a religious symbol for that?
Don't be rude.
To the government of Israel, it's not really a religious symbol. I mean, it is, but it is also a symbol of territorial expansion and imperialism, really. That's how they use it. That's the badge of imperialism in the Middle East. That's what they turned it into. It's fucked up. Like the U.S. flag, for example. Same thing. One of the hostages also was sent with a message for the mother of one of the yet unreleased hostages saying that time is running out. I don't know about that. That's grim. I don't know. Gleesh, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate it. Have you watched Severance? No, I don't have Apple TV. I don't want to get Apple TV. I can't do it. But yeah, of course, because the Pope spoke out against the Trump administration and fake Catholic J.D. Vance, the Pope has been under attack from right-wingers, as always. This is, like, so funny. He's a fraud, yeah. Right-wingers love attacking the Pope in America. After Vance accused the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops of resettling immigrants to receive federal funding, New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan called the vice president's remarks scurrilous and nasty. You want to come look at our audits, which are scrupulously done? You think we make money caring for the immigrants? We're losing it hand over fist. We're not in a money-making business, Dolan said. For some reason, you weren't on my homepage under live following. I had to go to my followers list. What the fuck? I'm being censored. I'm being censored. He's literally the dude God likes. What are they on? Yeah, that's the word of the Lord. That's what I mean. Like, J.D. Vance is a fake-ass Catholic. You can't question the Pope, man. That's not how it works. He should excommunicate his ass. He should have excommunicated Joe Biden, too, for real. For the genocide. But that's separate. I would be a very punitive Pope. That's why they would never let me do it. Protestant behavior? Yeah, questioning the Pope. Puppy photo from yesterday, but a ram balancing the mandarins. I see. I see the vision. This is great. You could Pope it up. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run for Pope. Can you do that? I know they have to like pick you in some kind of ancient dark ceremony. But I can probably slip my name in the hat, right? They pick the name out of the big Pope hat. Peden is online? What the fuck? Who put this in here? Hey, what do you know? I'm the Pope now. Sorry. Pope Peden. I would have a lot of reformations. I would bring back the dungeons as the Pope. I would bring back
Mamma mia,
the
Poparia.
torture chambers. Saint Peden. Yeah, I'd use them too. I Here's the thing. I get a letter from some parish in New England telling me they found a priest that's a diddler. I'm taking him to the Vatican. I'm saying, "Hey man, come here. I got a special assignment for you." And then I'm pushing him into an Iron Maiden full of spikes and closing it. And then kicking him off a cliff. And then I do that every time it happens. And I would do it in the big hat, too, and I'd make everyone watch. And they won't suspect a thing? No, I would be allowed because I'm the Pope. I am the hand of God. The hand, the mouth, the ears of God. I'm excommunicating Joe Biden. I'm putting J.D. Vance in the dungeons. I'm establishing a new Italian caliphate in in Italy. I'm occupying the fascist Italian government. For a new papacy that will rule. Maloney out. Mussolini's granddaughter, get out. You're banned from the country of Italy. You're banned from Ravioli Night. You're banned from Surf and Turf Night. It's actually called an anti-pope? What? That's not real. A person who claims to be the Bishop of Rome and leader of Roman Catholic Church in opposition to the legitimately elected Pope. The Dark Pope? Sometimes it was difficult to distinguish which of two claimants should be called Pope and which anti-Pope. Dark Gothic Pope. That's wild. Pope lore's insane. They put a dead pope on trial. Yeah, I've heard about that. They've done all kinds of weird shit to the popes. Europe is a very evil place. Could you watch this on stream? The Rise of New Fascism in Italy? Maybe eventually. It's a little old. I hope the information is still up to date. I mean, I'm sure it is because it's probably mostly old information. Pope related. Scandalous popes of the Middle Ages. Not scandalous popes. Were any of the anti-popes scandalous? Anti-Pope of Alexandria. That's badass. Pope Shenouda III. Coptic Orthodox Pope. What the fuck? The anti-popes are all scandal. First anti-pope. Where is he? Tell me about him. Nautilus. The first anti-pope. No, Natalius. Natalius. God, this is such old ass information. From C199. Adoptionism? Dynamic monarchianism? Dynamic monarchianism. An early Christian non-Trinitarian theological doctrine. This is the kind of shit J.D. Vance is trying to bring back. I think J.D. Vance is the anti-pope. Why did they just let the anti-popes do that? I don't know. What is this? Why did I click on this? Free media. Oh, I see. For more Pope information. That's how you run for the Pope. I wasn't even... Okay. Whatever. I would never use stuff like that. If you don't jump on the whole becoming anti-Pope thing, I'm anti-Pope of Virginia / America is so badass. Much cooler than my actual name. New Pope election website just dropped. So you're telling me I can run for Pope? What is this? Nervous kid in a red state. God, I hope people are smart enough to recognize how evil Trump is and not vote for him again. 2,000 people in rural Pennsylvania that decide every election.
Can the mirror see my head moving?
Yeah.
How does the mirror know what I'm doing if I've got it covered?
The mirror is inanimate. It don't know nothing.
How can you see what my head is doing on the other side if I've got this up in front of me?
Because I can see your reflection.
How does the mirror know what I'm doing on the other side?
The mirror doesn't know what you're
Is
doing.
it showing what I'm doing on the other side?
I think
Yeah.
there's a camera in the mirror.
Can you see me on the other side of this mirror?
I can.
But how can you see it if this thing is up in front of me?
It's called a reflection.
How? I'm covered. How?
I'm covering. How does it know?
Can the mirror show it?
You're covering your part, but I can see on the outside. I can see the other part. I can see stuff that you can't see.
So is that how the mirror is showing?
I don't know what you're talking about. The mirror is a mirror. It
How
shows
does the
reflections
mirror
only.
know? How, if I'm covered, how does the mirror know what to reflect of me? I'm not in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
Can the mirror see my head moving?
Yeah.
How does the mirror know what I'm doing if I've got it covered?
It's just like it sucks because like the guy can't even explain it either. It's not. She can't see it. He's not the one covering. I can explain it in their own terms too. You're covering and you can't see it. He's not covering. He can see it. You got it? We don't even need to get to the fucking physics of it. You're covering. He's not covering. You're asking someone else. Like, how does it know? How does it know? That's why you can't even say like America needs re-education camps. It's just education at that point. It's just regular education. How it feels laughing at the Kanye tweets. This is a funny ass post.
Dan, it's you and me against the world.
Okay.
I killed one. One is like kind of right here by orange, I think.
Just camp in a corner. I'm coming to you.
Classic Northern
one.
Lion clip.
Got the other. Voltaire.
My mom thinks that mirrors are a portal to negative energies and told me to keep them out of my room / serious. It's just glass. She said it would negatively affect my sleep. The Roseanne emote is so appropriate for that. The negative energies would affect my quality of sleep. But of course. Okay, here's
Secretary of
let's get
State-
into a little bit of news first. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has met with Benjamin Netanyahu, fucking war criminal
Happy
Benjamin
Sunday
Netanyahu.
service. I hope you all are having a wondrous and whimsical day.
Nightshade 1312, thank you for the 5 months. But he also apparently gave an address to lay out steps towards the ending the Russian-Ukraine war, which I don't even know, like, I don't even know what he's going to say here. I'm mainly just curious. Same with, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about with Netanyahu either. I'm guessing they're holding up the hostage transfer. I don't really know. They said they were going to fucking end the ceasefire Saturday at noon, and I guess they just backed down. More like Secretary of Stink.
Marco Rubio, who is in Jerusalem on the second leg of his trip through Europe and the Middle East.
You look good, man.
Mr. Secretary, I know it's the evening hours there and you've had a long day. We appreciate your time. You've got quite a busy schedule. You met earlier with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He said he's lockstep with the Trump administration, but he can't share details on, quote, when the gates of hell will be open if all of our hostages are not released.
So we're still doing that? They did a prisoner swap yesterday.
Did he tell
and
you
they're still talking about the gates of hell?
He wants to keep talks going to get to phase 2 of this hostage
This
deal?
is today. This is 5 hours ago.
Well, I think we share a common goal. We want to see every hostage released. Frankly, I think, and the president has said this, we want to see them out as soon as we possibly can. And certainly, you know, the world has watched these images of people, and it's just heartbreaking to remember that some of them have been now almost 2 years there. It's a horrifying situation. So we coordinate.
Wow, he really speed ran through all the thoughts and prayers section. You see all these pictures, and it's horrible what these people have gone through, and it's just a terrible thing. So we coordinate anyway. Like, goddamn. Who is he talking about? What is he talking about? What's even going on? It's just horrible, whatever it is.
And work very close with them. We share the goal that every hostage needs to come home, every single one, without delay. Obviously, there are details of how we're pursuing that and coordinating that we're not going to share publicly because we don't want to endanger the hostages and we don't want to endanger this process.
What do you mean without delay?
But suffice it to say that if it was up to us, every one of these hostages would be home right now, and we want it to happen as soon as possible.
Like instantaneously?
Okay. So the deal stands.
You're stupid.
Again, we want every hostage out as soon as possible. We want to see them home.
That's not an answer, you rat.
There are some that are supposed to, under the deal, there are some that are supposed to be released coming up next weekend. We expect that to happen, but we'd like to see them all come out. We're not in favor of waiting weeks and weeks. Now, that may be the process that's in place because of the deal, but
No, that might be the process that's in place because of the deal. Yeah. That's how you get the hostages back. What do you mean you want them all back now? Like instantly? That's not how anything works.
But we would like to see them all out as soon as possible, and we continue to coordinate. That's what we'd like to see is the outcome. Who wouldn't want all these hostages to be home and with their families?
Understood. Want to ask you about...
I don't understand. Understood. No.
Iran as well. President Trump has said he wants a diplomatic deal with Iran. Are you reaching out to them? And alongside that, does the U.S. support a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran to take?
That's World War III, by the way. That's like the first strike of World War III. A preemptive strike on Iran. Why would we, in any fucking dimension, ever support that? Ever. There's only everything to lose and nothing to gain other than dead Iranians. Is that really worth it?
Take out its nuclear program.
At what point is it just World War III already and we just accept it? Oh, we're not even close to that point now. No, there needs to be a serious escalation. I don't think we're realistically that close right now. But I think if Israel did a fucking preemptive, basically unprovoked strike on an Iranian nuclear facility, for example, and basically murdered like tens of thousands, if not more, of Iranian civilians, yeah, that would basically be the doorstep to World War III. Because that's what we're talking about right now. Like, that's what they want to do.
Well, first of all,
like
Israel...
World War III, you ask me, got nothing to do with China. We're in like a weird like trade war situation with China, and that might get worse. And unless we attack China for whatever reason, which I don't think we would ever even do. Did you see Russia struck Chernobyl's reactor? I didn't see that. That's crazy. I don't think World War III would have anything to do with China. I think it would have a lot more to do with Russia and Iran against America and Israel.
Will always have to act in what they believe is their national interest and their national defense. And so I'm not going to speak about whatever strategies they may have on this or any other topic. I will say that we don't have any outreach from Iran. We haven't seen any. And ultimately, we've seen in the past that efforts that Iran has undertaken diplomatically have been only about how to extend the time frame, but continue to enrich and in addition to sponsor terrorism, in addition to build these long-range weapons, in addition to sow instability throughout the region. But let's be clear, there's been zero outreach or interest to date from Iran about any negotiated deal. Ideally, yeah, I would love to wake up one day and hear the news that Iran has decided not to pursue a nuclear weapon, not to sponsor terrorism, and re-engage in the world as a...
What kind of expectation
He
is
might
that to
finally
set?
beat Master Mo the Trial of the Sword in Botu Please Peacer Pray for me.
Only we're allowed to have nuclear weapons? That's not even true. Israel has nuclear weapons, and they don't even reveal that publicly. They deny that they do, and we know for a fact that they do. So, that's just a huge hypocrisy right there. Russia struck Chernobyl, and they're trying to pin the blame on Ukraine. Ah, my jaw. Yeah, that's crazy. I have no idea. I hadn't heard anything about that. Was this recent? These guys aren't doing a very good job negotiating this deal, are they?
As a normal government. We've had no indication of any of that, not just now, but for 30 years.
So you head from Israel to Saudi Arabia next. I know you'll be talking about Gaza, but we've also learned that Saudi Arabia is trying to facilitate this diplomacy with Russia about Ukraine. Which Russian officials do you expect to be meeting with, and what will the focus of your talks there be? Do you actually believe Vladimir Putin is ready to negotiate and make concessions?
What do you think are the chances of nuclear conflict? Low. Low. I don't think World War III would even involve nukes right away. I think it would be something, fought with proxies, basically. Like Israel's a proxy of America. Drone war, they still need people. But yeah, drones are part of it. Nukes are a last resort to protect, capital, basically. Yeah, we have plenty of other weapons. Hours after Trump insisted that Putin wants peace, a Russian drone struck the containment shell protecting the radioactive reactor at their Chernobyl nuclear power plant, causing significant damage. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus. So does anybody, what actually happened? Obviously there wasn't, a meltdown or anything like there was before. Jesus. Just blasted a hole. I guess it was just the protective shell, the containment shell. There's a hole in it. The Chernobyl sarcophagus. I guess it was just one strike. It's a little weird. If you don't understand what happened in Chernobyl, just understand there's a giant concrete container around the entire nuclear reactor building that protects the entire world from massive amounts of radiation, and Russia just tried to breach that container with a drone. That's crazy.
Well, here's what I know. I know President Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin last week, and in it, Vladimir Putin expressed his interest in peace, and the president expressed his desire to see an end to this conflict in a way that was enduring and that protected Ukrainian sovereignty, and that was an enduring peace, not that we're going to have another invasion in 3 or 4 years. That's a good call. Now, obviously, it has to be followed up by action. So the next few weeks and days will determine whether it's serious or not. Ultimately, one phone call does not make peace. One phone call does not solve a war as complex as this one. But I can tell you that Donald Trump is the only leader in the world that could potentially begin that process. Other leaders have tried. They have not been able to do so. When he ran in his campaign and he was elected as president, one of his promises was he would work to bring an end to this conflict in a way that's sustainable and fair.
Whoa.
And obviously...
Well, that's not what he promised. He said he would end the conflict before he got into office. That's actually what he promised, and that he didn't really follow up on.
You know, this is the first step in that process, but we have a long ways to go. Again, one call doesn't make it. One meeting wouldn't make it. There's a lot of work to be done. But I thought it has, you know, even the longest journey begins with the first step. So we'll see what happens from here. Hopefully good things.
Who will you be meeting with?
Hopefully good things.
Well, nothing's been finalized yet. I was scheduled to be in Saudi Arabia anyways. We announced that trip a week ago and a week and a half ago. So ultimately, look, if at any point in time there's an opportunity to continue the work that President Trump started last week to begin to create an opening for a broader conversation, that it would involve Ukraine and would involve the end of the war and would involve our allies all over the world, particularly in Europe, we're going to explore it if that opportunity presents itself. I don't have any details for you this morning other than to say that we stand ready to follow the president's lead on this and begin to explore ways, if those opportunities present itself, to begin a process towards peace. Now, a process towards peace is not a one-meeting thing. This war has been going on for a while.
Right.
It's difficult. It's complicated. It's been bloody. It's been costly.
It's very complicated. It's such a complicated situation. Things really get complicated when the U.S. government tries to make peace, huh?
Not be easy to end a conflict like this, and there are other parties at stake that have opinions on this as well. The European Union has sanctions as well. The Ukrainians are obviously fighting this war. It's their country, and they're on the front lines. So one meeting isn't going to solve it. But I want to reiterate, the president made clear he wants to end this war, and if opportunities present themselves to further that, we're going to take them if they present themselves. We'll see what happens over the next...
If they present themselves, I don't know.
Next few days.
But to be clear, Keith Kellogg, who is the envoy appointed to help with these talks, says these are going to be parallel negotiations, meaning the Ukrainians and Russians aren't talking to each other yet.
He's the original Kellogg's guy. Did you ever end up watching the doc? No, it's on my queue for today, though. I did want to watch at least half of it before we moved on to other stuff for the day. But yes, I am excited about it. Yeah, Keith Serial.
When you meet with your Russian counterpart, whoever that is, are you going to be sitting there arguing Ukraine's position?
Well, first of all, I think what we have to understand is right now there is no process.
Right.
What we have right now is a call between Putin and President Trump. And
oh, so there's no process? Okay.
Which both sides expressed an interest in ending this conflict. I mean, imagine there will be follow-up conversations to figure out what a process to talk about that would look like. And then at that point, perhaps we can begin to share more details. So it's a bit premature. I know there's been a lot of reaction to it because there's been no conversation about it, any serious conversation. But I want to go back to the point I made. President Trump ran. He was very clear. He thinks this war needs to end. And if he sees an opportunity to end it, which is what he's looking for, whether there is an opportunity or not, we're going to pursue it. Ultimately, it will reach a point when if it's real negotiations, and we're not there yet, but if that were to happen, Ukraine will have to be involved because they're the one that were invaded. And the Europeans will have to be involved because they have sanctions on Putin and Russia as well. And they've contributed to this effort. We're just not there yet. We really aren't. But hopefully we will be, because we'd all like to see this war end.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Nothing we can do. Whenever Putin feels like talking to us, I guess. This is exactly what Joe Biden said, and then he'd be like, I don't need to talk to Putin. He's got to make concessions, Jack. I don't want to talk to him. Let him do whatever. Yeah, Kellogg's were made to curb masturbation because bland food was supposed to decrease your sex drive. That's the original Kellogg's guy. Yeah, he was a eugenicist, he was racist, he was a bad guy. Bland food makes me horny, actually. That's right.
No doubt. The last administration did have contact through the intelligence agencies with Russia, but they didn't believe there was any proof that Vladimir Putin was interested in talks. You know the history with Vladimir Putin. He likes to use diplomacy as a cover to distract while he continues to wage war.
I just hate the way the media covers Vladimir Putin compared to the way they cover for Benjamin Netanyahu. Because they're basically the same guy. Netanyahu's honestly far worse. But, like, their tactics are really similar. What she just described is exactly what Netanyahu does all the time. But it results in, like, massacres of civilians. Versus, like, you know, armed conflict between two militaries. But whatever. Whatever.
Do you trust that this time is different?
Yeah, I don't think in geopolitics anyone should trust anyone. I think these things
Sorry. Okay, man. That's our Secretary of State, by the way.
Have to be verified through actions. I said yesterday that peace is not a noun, it's a verb, it's an action. You have to take concrete steps towards it. What I can tell you is I know of no better negotiator in American politics than President Trump.
Yeah.
I think President Trump will know very quickly whether this is a real thing or whether this is an effort to buy time. But I don't want to prejudge that. I don't want to foreclose the opportunity to end a conflict that's already cost the lives of hundreds of thousands and continues every single day to be increasingly a war of attrition on both sides. I think everyone should be celebrating the fact that we have an American president that is seeking to promote peace in the world, not start wars, but end them in a way that's enduring. That's something we should be happy about, whether it's possible or not. We're certainly willing, but it's not entirely up to us, obviously, but we'll find out.
Well, you did speak in a phone
Robo Rubio
call with Russia's top diplomat, Sergei Lavrov. The Russian side claimed that you discussed restoring trade, which seemed to be a nod to sanctions, easing restrictions on diplomats, and other gestures like a high-level leaders meeting. Are you actually considering, is the Trump administration considering lifting sanctions on Russia?
Well, the phone call was to establish communications that are consistent with the call the president made last week with Vladimir Putin. Because if there is going to be the possibility of progress here towards peace, we are going to need to talk to the Russians. I mean, that is going to have to happen, and we're going to have to be able to do it across our channels.
About
I
lifting
also raised
sanctions,
in
though?
that conversation concerns that Well, we didn't go into any details. I mean, what we just discussed is basically the ability to begin communicating. I've never spoken to Mr. Lavrov in my life, so it was an opportunity for us to begin to open that channel of communication, which again, if there's the potential for peace here, that's a channel that has to exist. But let me add one more thing. I also raised the issue of our embassy in Moscow, which operates under very difficult conditions. I raised that because it's important. It's going to be very difficult to engage in communication with Russia about anything if our embassy is not functioning. And he raised concerns about his diplomatic mission in the United States. So at a very basic level, if in fact there is going to be an opportunity here to pursue peace by engaging with the Russians, we're going to need to have functional embassies in Moscow.
It's like a parent asking an infant about calculus. Kinda, yeah. He's really just deferring to like Donald Trump as the best negotiator ever, and he'll fix it, I guess.
And in Washington, D.C., and that's certainly something foreign ministers would talk about as a matter of normal course.
I want to ask you about what happened.
His haircut does suck.
In Munich.
Yeah, Trump is the only negotiator. He's the only guy that can do it.
Germany at the security conference. Vice President Vance gave a speech, and he told U.S. allies that the threat he worries about the most is not Russia. It is not China. He called it the threat from within, and he lectured about what he described as censorship.
We watched it yesterday. It was honestly one of the most like nutso speeches I've ever heard. He was really like lecturing German generals about like censorship on social media. It was so bizarre and so childish. He kept making jokes that nobody laughed at, and he was definitely like slurring his speech like he was drunk. It was really weird. But honestly, exactly what I expected out of a VP JD Vance, honestly. Exactly what I expected. And we'll probably see nothing but him doing that forever. That's going to be the next 4 years for JD Vance, is just showing up, fucking fumbling his way through a speech to a bunch of people that don't give a shit, and then, you know, disappear until he shows up on the news to, you know, finger wag about queer people or wokeness or, you know, anti-Christianity or something.
Mainly focusing, though, on including more views from the right. He also met with the leader of a far-right party known as the AfD, which, as you know, is under investigation.
I didn't know he met with the fucking AfD leader. That's so demonic.
And monitoring by German intelligence because of extremism.
Yeah, you want to elaborate on that? The kind of extremism? Far-right German extremism? There's a historical context for this, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a fucking journalist. Yeah, Elon hits a salute. They meet with a far-right German party leader. Sure, this is good. I'm sure this is a good. World started yesterday. Wait, Ali Beynan is now the second genius Doge engineer I've seen struggle with the hardest problem in computer science, extracting text from a PDF. To keep your agency safe from Doge, I recommend scanning all your documents as raster PDFs, slightly tilted and with a coffee mug stain for good measure. Really? PDF text. Oh, they're looking through their code. Oh my god, they're looking through the code and finding comments. PDF text extractor. The script extracts text content from PDF files, reads a text file containing PDF file paths, one per line, addresses or processes each PDF, saving its text content to a separate output file in a timestamp directory. Okay, it doesn't say anything about her. Why is she struggling with this? I guess this is like not the correct way to do this, because it has to be a PDF path. Literal goo goo gaga babies. That's what I mean. These are script kiddies. This is script kiddie shit. You know the syntax. You know how to. You know the basics of the language, and you're jumbling together a program that functionally doesn't work as intended on a user base scenario. It passes for a college project because it does something under very specific parameters, but once you actually try to test it in the real world, it's not going to work because there's more variables than what you have the experience or the technical skill to account for as a programmer. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge to account for programs that people use in the real world. And a script kiddie can't do that. They can't apply their knowledge. They just know the basic syntax, and so what they do doesn't end up working correctly. I think it's just the results of running through this script will likely never be accurate. Yeah. And it can easily be... Wait, gratuitous comments suggesting it was AI generated. I don't know what AI generated code looks like, but if there's like random comments over explaining basic things, that does make sense for AI to put in there. They're generating the code. Why would they spend the time to write it? That's just heinous, dude. That is so fucking crazy. So if you don't understand, very good programmer here. This shit is bitch made. Also, they could have used OCR. Literally, the technology already exists. This is what you get for reinventing the wheel and not being a fucking wheel maker. That's what Doge is. Reinventing the wheel and you made a fucking octagon. It's not going to work really good. That's AI code. No way. Have people actually gone through the GitHub? How much of this is AI code? Oh, wait. This is the kid that... This is the kid. The fucking Tony Stark kid that analyzed the stupid bone and the script on the fucking scroll, the burnt Pompeii scroll, asking, are there any LLMs, large language models, AIs, made specifically for parsing things like documents, forms, PDFs, JSON, HTML, Excel, etc., and converting them from one format to another? Literally converting PDF. How do I open PDF, Jack? This is Joe Biden level, dude. This is Joe Biden level technical literacy. And that's who's in Doge. Remember when we watched the video of him decoding the fucking scroll? Decoding the fucking scroll from Pompeii? And he found the word purple. And it was some fucking big deal, even though like a ton of other people worked on it. He just took credit for typing into an AI. He said, he typed into an AI, please find me a word in this, please. Here, run this code that he probably also AI generated. And find me a word. It's not even accurate. Really? Oh my God. And they can't even convert fucking HTML file? Like, you are incompetent, dude. You're literally, oh my God, this is why you go to school. This is why you go to college. I'm going to start crying in a second. I thought their one qualification of this would be knowledge of computers, and they don't even have that. You have to understand what a STEM lord is. Because 90%, I don't want to say 90, like 40% of people in computer science programs are the kid that sits there and takes credit for everyone else's work in the group project. And they might know the language and the lingo and the syntax. I'd give you just 75%. Okay, true. But they don't ever, like, seriously or genuinely be that person. They still give themselves credit. They still think they're Tony Stark, Elon Musk, genius computer guy, even though they don't do anything and just take credit for everyone else's work. And that's who's just running the government now with no clearance, plugging in their flash drives, doing whatever. This is wild, dude. Have you seen Tesla.sexy website? What? No. Become your own Ubermensch? You are the master of your own soul? What the fuck is this? wasn't that one of the domains? That was one of the domains owned by one of these creeps. It wasn't even one of these ones. It was a different one, by the way. Is this a cult? I'm starting to think so, and it's also a sex cult. Much like Destiny's Community, it's also low-key a sex cult. Elon's getting people pregnant all while he's doing this shit, too. Yeah, 78 cents on that post. Nice. How do I convert PDF, Jack? How do I convert HTML? I don't understand. What if I just change the .html to .png on the file? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I mean, Ashley St. Clair, one of Elon's blue checkmark reply guys, who just happens to be a woman, is pregnant, or was pregnant, and had Elon Musk's fucking 13th child. And now people are crawling through through Ashley St. Clair's Twitter account, not only monitoring to watch her fucking complain at Elon Musk. This is a real thing, by the way. There is a fake post going around lately from this person, but I made sure to compile real posts. Yeah, gave birth and ghosted. Elon replied to some random like Nazi Twitter account, as he does, and she had a problem because A, he ghosted her, and she's saying, we've been trying to communicate for the past several days and you've not responded. When are you going to reply to us instead of publicly responding to smears from an individual who posted photos of me in underwear at 15 years old? Oh, it's Milo. It's fucking Milo Yiannopoulos, dude. Apparently, he did that. I believe her. I haven't seen that, but I believe her that Milo Yiannopoulos did that shit. And he this is what Elon replied to, by the way. This is what he replied to. Her saying, well, he has 7 kids and goes through women pretty fast. And that's in 2020, by the way. 5 years ago. Ashley St. Clair plotted for half a decade to ensnare Elon Musk. Whoa. 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 It's interesting that Elon is responding to this clearly in jest screenshot that was discussed with his team months ago in a documented call. I don't even want to know what the situation was to get her pregnant. Apparently everything's fucking documented. They had a whole team of people organizing this fucking pregnancy. Jesus Christ. This is what he's doing while he's simultaneously destroying the government, by the way. Oh my God. Goes through women pretty fast is so fucking gross. He does, though. He demonstrably does. That was 5 years ago and she's still right. She's ends up being one of the people. She said IVF. That's a fake tweet. That was not a real tweet when she said that, I'm pretty sure. She has deleted a lot of tweets, but the IVF one is not real. I think they did have sex. Now he decides to respond to it publicly from an account that posted underage photos of me as if he wasn't asking me to have more children last week. Come on. He's asking for more. They definitely smashed. He has a girlfriend right now, by the way. Elon Musk literally has a girlfriend. And it's not her. He's so disgusting. Does he think he's like JFK or something? There's only one thing I want them to have in common, and I'm not going to say it out loud. He went to the Prime Minister of India with his girlfriend, remember? She was the one toting the kids around. Some other random broad.
Elon Musk can lick a scrot and beat a chode.
She's 20? No, Ashley St. Clair's not 20 years old. His girlfriend is not 20 either, is she?
By his partner, there are more future hours before Modi crucial meeting
This
with US
broad,
President
whoever
Donald
this
Trump.
is.
The two discussed space mobility in a
Modi jump scare. Sorry. She's got all the kids.
Siobhan Zillis, Musk's partner,
She was 15 5 years ago? No, I think she posted pictures. No. Milo posted pictures of her from when she was 15. I don't know why or how he got them, or I'm not even going to approach that, but it does sound like something that Milo would do. She's 26? And you're fucking Elon Musk, dude? He's 53! Ew! By the way, that kid, 50% chance of autism. At least. That kid, 50%. When a man above 50 has a child, it's a 50-50 whether or not it has autism or not. And Elon Musk already has autism. So I don't know what the fuck is going to happen to that kid. I really hope that's a kid whose needs are met. I bet he won't have a deadbeat piece of shit dad. There's nothing wrong with being autistic. I'm autistic. But they are doubling up on the chances of this kid being, you know, like on the spectrum to the point of having very high support needs. And that is, I mean, that's just a hard thing to do to somebody. I don't know. That's crazy. Hope the kid isn't trans either. Surely it'll just be one of Elon's 17 children or whatever, however many he finally has. I feel like the pening community is disproportionately autistic, but that might just be me. It's that and it's Twitch. Trans all of Elon's kids. It's 13th, but there's probably at least two or at least one other on the way right now. As someone who has high support needs, it's already a hard life, but having Elon Musk as your dad, that's so evil. The worst part is having Elon Musk as your dad, and he's probably going to be a huge fucking like missing piece of that kid's life. How do you do that? How you're already abandoning it and it's a baby. Not to mention, yeah, the secret bastards, you never know. They're all bastards, I guess, cuz he's only has he ever been married or is he divorced? Wait. He married 3 times, twice to the same woman. Messy. What the fuck? I wonder if you can... I wonder. 2000 to 2008, 2010 to 2012, and then 2013 to 2016. Messy. Triple divorce king. Abandoning kids every year. There's more that he's fucking forgetting about. Triple threat. It's interesting that Elon is responding to this clearly in jest screenshot. Now he decides to respond to it publicly from an account that posted underage photos of me. Insanely irresponsible of him to do. Of both Milo and Elon for fucking associating with it. I would like to take this offline for our child's sake and have been attempting to do so for weeks. This is very common what happens to women, by the way. You know, they get ignored privately, and then when they speak up publicly, oh, it's your fault. You got to keep this private. Why did you say anything? And it's like, well, he's ignoring her. What else is she going to do? Did you know one of Grimes and Elon's kids' names is Techno Mechanicus? All right. Just having Transformers. The security team on Elon's own platform locked the account he is now reposting to for a week for posting the non-consensual underwear photo of me as a child. Holy shit, where did he get that picture, dude? We're bouncing the post for non-consensual nudity, given that it's paired with a threat to expose as well. We're increasing the timeout period to 1 week. This will help us to get to the right of this news cycle on Ashley. GT is also using the media matching tool to surface additional instances. That's insane. Yeah, only a 1 week ban, by the way. Thank you, Elon. Very cool. And then, yeah, she's just asking to fucking talk to him. Elon names his kids like a middle schooler playing RPGs. I genuinely am wondering now if he's making children so he has new bodies to put his brain in with Neuralink. That would be crazy. Honestly, yeah, you'd have easy donor matches for organs, blood. What if he names his next kid after a country or something? I think his next kid is going to be called like Dogecoin Maximus or something. Dogecoin to the Moonius. It's going to be awesome. Oh yeah, let's finish this JD Vance interview. I got distracted with the fucking Elon drama. Yeah, she deleted all of those tweets we looked through about the situation, probably because she was threatened to do so. But also people have pointed out that fucking Ashley St. Clair has constantly fucking slut-shamed people and, like, been so nasty to women, too. Good night to everybody except Hunter Biden for being a deadbeat dad who abandoned his child in Arkansas. I don't even think that's a real story. Yeah, very MAGA of her, I know. Yeah, that's awesome. Here's a fucking sick one as well. This is a Timcast employee, dude. You got Timcast making fun of you. That's insane. Is it Timcast? Conservative. What? Conservative OG? What the fuck? What the fuck is this? Whatever. The OG one. Here's Ashley St. Clair saying Kamala can't help herself from bending over for a man to get head. That's disgusting. Or get ahead, sorry. And it's like, dude, you fucked Elon Musk. You nasty broad. Ilhan Omar wants
Don't be
borders
rude.
as open as her legs. Curious. Interesting. That's crazy to
Eden,
me.
beg of thee, please listen to Sloppy Seconds by George Watsky.
Thank you, Zomb200 Zomb for the 5 months. Sloppy Seconds by George Watsky. Weird assumption, I know. And again, all of this for a 53-year-old nasty fucking crusty ass white supremacist Nazi. A fucking Afrikaner, dude. A fucking South African apartheid emerald mine creep, dude. Like, you are cursed with his seed forever. Let's continue the JD Vance, the Marco Rubio interview. They're all the same fucking guy to me.
What did all of this accomplish other than irritating our allies?
Who doesn't pay his child support? True. He doesn't support his kids, man. He doesn't support his kids at all, or the mothers of them.
Why would our allies or anybody be irritated by free speech and by someone giving their opinion? We are, after all, democracies. The Munich Security Conference is largely a conference of democracies in which one of the things that we cherish and value is the ability to speak freely and provide your opinions. And so I think if anyone's angry about his word, they don't have to agree with him, but to be angry about it, I think actually makes his point. I thought it was actually a pretty historic speech, whether you agree with him or not. I think the valid points he's making to Europe is we are concerned that the true values that we share, the values that bind us together with Europe, are things like free speech and democracy and our shared
He's
history.
so uncanny. He looks like a puppet. Oh, St. Pete and the anti-pope. That's really nice. Thank you, Damien Devil. I wish my boobs looked like that, but thank you.
And winning two
impressed with our capital. It looks like shit.
world wars and defeating Soviet communism and the like. These are the values that we shared in common. And in that Cold War, we fought against things like censorship and oppression and so forth. And when you see backsliding and you raise that, that's a very valid concern. We can't tell them how to run their countries. He simply expressed in a speech his view of it, which a lot of people frankly share. And I thought he said a lot of things in that speech that needed to be said. And honestly, I don't know why anybody would be upset about it. People are allowed, you don't have to agree with someone's speech.
Yeah, you guys are just triggered.
I happen to agree with a lot of what he said, but you don't have to agree with someone's speech to at least appreciate the fact they have a right to say it, and that you should listen to it and see whether those criticisms are valid. I assure you, the United States has come under withering criticism.
Last thing on the Elon Musk drama. After replying to fucking Milo Yiannopoulos, whoa, she said, we've been trying to communicate for several days. You've not responded. Why are you replying to a pervert who posted fucking, child sexual abuse material of me on your platform, and then you unbanned him? Why? Meanwhile, he's busy replying to his girlfriend with his fucking little children. His little human shields. Oh, so cute. What a good father. What a fucking wholesome, family values kind of guy. I love this. That kid looks like Elon. They all look like him. They all look a little like him.
On many occasions.
Which mom is that? New mom. New mom just dropped. I'd love to talk on stream about my experience working at SpaceX. I have so many stories. No way, really? That's a really good idea. I have to put down Dr. Poop's friend I was going to interview who did the Starbucks strike. I can do some interviews on the second channel. I think it'd be fun. And then, 2 years at SpaceX. That's awesome. No, I'll absolutely do like a whole... we can schedule it for like next week. Hang on, Dr. Poop. Starbucks strike interview. And Oh Sleeping Dreamer. SpaceX. Thank you, Oh Sleeping Dreamer, for offering your experience. I'm really curious to know the kind of shit that went down. And yeah, I think it'd be cool to have just an hour or so just to converse. My name is Sam. Good to know. Thank you, Sam.
It's from many leaders in Europe, and we don't go around throwing temper tantrums about it.
Well, he was standing
Republicans never have temper tantrums. Remember that.
in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views. And some historic ties to extreme group.
Sorry, she was talking about Germany. She was talking about the Holocaust. I thought she was talking about Israel for a second.
Thanks for always keeping us informed. It's nice to have this space when I am surrounded by MAGA idiots in real life.
I like frogs 0129. Thank you for the 11 months. Glad we can provide a safe space in chat. Much love. What's this? This is the Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Face the Nation. He's facing us, giving us updates on the war in Ukraine. Like, I don't know, and whatever. And we hope it'll go okay.
Groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you.
Okay.
Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi.
You know, the rest of the people I agree with, but I happen to like Israel. That's what Marco Rubio would say.
Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history. I also think it's wrong. Again, I go back to the...
Wait, what? I don't really understand what his point is. Her point was that, you know, you're giving a speech about freedom of speech in a country where freedom of speech was used to advocate for the Nazi Party and their talking points and genocide. And he said, no, it's actually because they were authoritarian. Okay.
The point of his speech. Okay, the
Do
point
I
of
need to join Piscord? That might be a good idea, yeah.
his speech was basically that there is an erosion in free speech and intolerance for opposing points of view within Europe, and that's of concern because that is eroding. That's not an erosion of your military capabilities. That's not an erosion of your economic standing. That's an erosion of the actual values that bind us together in this transatlantic union that everybody talks about. And I think allies and friends and partners that have worked together now for 80 years should be able to speak frankly to one another in open forums. Without being offended, insulted, or upset. And I spoke to foreign ministers from multiple countries throughout Europe.
Even though he was...
Many of them probably...
I'm sorry. They did have a right to be offended because he was lecturing them. He was condescending to them. He was being an asshole. Like, that's what they had a right to be offended over. And he's like, no, you just have to be candid. And you can't... When you're candid, you don't get offended. I guess that's the opposite of offended, is candid.
They didn't like the speech or didn't agree with it, but they were continuing to engage with us on all sorts of issues that unite us. So again, at the end of the day, I think that you know, people give all... That is a forum in which you're supposed to be inviting people to give speeches, not basically a chorus where everyone is saying the exact same thing. That's not always going to be the case when it's a collection of democracies where leaders have the right and the privilege to speak their minds in forums such as these.
Mr. Secretary,
Right.
I'm told that we are out of time. A lot to get through with you. We appreciate you making time today.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, listen to this.
That was really bad. This was yesterday. Let's see. Hang on.
Secretary.
Yeah. He met with Netanyahu as well, and I'm curious what they said here, because he also didn't say whether or not the ceasefire was holding in Gaza. He was like, I don't know, maybe. We hope, we want all the hostages back, and, you know, we just hope for the best. We don't want war.
Secretary Rubio, my dear friend Marco.
Ugh. Disgusting, dude.
It's great to welcome you in Jerusalem with your delegation. It's great to welcome you in Jerusalem as Secretary of State of the United States. I have to say that this visit comes in the wake of a historic visit to Washington. I've said, and I'm going to repeat it again.
I'll be right back.
Because it's so true. President Trump is the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House. And the visit in Washington reflected that in every way. And your visit here reflects it in every way. Throughout your political career, you've been a great supporter of Israel and a great champion of the U.S.-Israel alliance. I have no doubt that your unwavering support will continue during your tenure as Secretary of State. And I also have no doubt that you'll be a voice of clarity and courage on the world stage for the values that we in Israel, you in America, hold dear, the values of freedom for all those who cherish liberty.
That's how he sounds? Yeah.
You're already doing that, and I want to tell you that it's heard loud and clear here and everywhere
Couldn't
else.
have been too impressed with our
Today,
capital.
Secretary
Looks like
Rubio and I
shit.
had a very productive discussion with our staffs on a number of issues. None of them are more important than Iran. Israel and America stand shoulder to shoulder in countering the threat of Iran. We agreed that the Ayatollahs must not have nuclear weapons. And we also agreed that Iran's aggression in the region has to be rolled back. Over the last 16 months...
Yeah, dude, Iran's too aggressive. I guess Marco's just standing here like a bitch while Netanyahu gives a speech. This is very Trump-coded. Just making a fucking foreign delegate stand there.
Israel has dealt a mighty blow to Iran's terror axis. Under the strong leadership of President Trump and with your unflinching support, I have no doubt that we can and will finish the job. We also spoke a great deal about Gaza. I thanked Secretary Rubio for President Trump's assistance in helping us secure the release of another 3 hostages yesterday. These are hostages that Hamas refused to support only a few days to release only a few days earlier. And I also thanked him for America's unequivocal backing for Israel's policy in Gaza and moving forward. I want to assure everyone who's now listening to us, President Trump and I are working in full cooperation and coordination between us. We have a common strategy, and we can't always share the details of this strategy with the public, including when the gates of hell will be opened, as they surely will if all our hostages are not released until the last one of them.
The way Marco's looking like, what the fuck are you saying, man? What? I thought it was Saturday. This was literally supposed to be the day. He said Saturday at noon. What happened? Now it's like until we don't get all of them. Okay. You're gonna get them if you follow the deal, you asshole.
Israel is determined to achieve all the war objectives we set after the horrific attack on October 7th, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust. We will eliminate Hamas's military capability and its political rule in Gaza.
Wait, if that was their plan the whole time, why didn't they do it? Why didn't it work? What the fuck? I thought that's what you've been trying to do this whole time, Bibby. What the fuck happened? You haven't done it. It didn't work the first time. You just want to go back? Do it again?
We will bring all our hostages home, and we will ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. The unequivocal support of the United States on Gaza will help us achieve these objectives faster and set us on a path for a different future. Secretary Rubio and I discussed President Trump's bold vision for Gaza's future, how we can work together to ensure that that future becomes a reality. We also discussed the situation in Syria after the collapse of Assad's regime,
Yeah, the situation. The Syrian government has like fizzled into a leader that is, you know, unsurprisingly pretty pro-Israel and is now bombing the borders of Lebanon. So that's cool.
It was made possible by Israel's weakening of Iran's terror axis, especially the weakening of Hezbollah and the removal of Nasrallah. For over a decade before October 7th, Israel acted to prevent Iran from developing new terror fronts against us in Syria, right opposite the Golan Heights and deeper in Syria. And we conducted hundreds of airstrikes, perhaps 1,000, in order to prevent it, and we did. Now, if any other force in Syria today believes that Israel will permit other hostile forces to use Syria as a base of operations against us, they are gravely mistaken. Israel will act to prevent any threat from emerging near our border in southwest Syria. The Secretary and I discussed Lebanon as well. Israel is committed to the ceasefire understandings that were reached in November. We expect the government of Lebanon to be equally committed to their fulfillment. The scenes we saw this weekend in Beirut of UNIFIL forces being attacked by Hezbollah, this was not encouraging.
No, I had such high hopes for the former ISIS, former Al-Qaeda guy. I know. I thought he was going to be so woke this time.
The two UN resolutions that everyone refers to, 1559, 1709, 1701, well, they must be fully implemented. Hezbollah must be disarmed. And Israel would prefer that the Lebanese army do that job. But no one should doubt that Israel will do what it has to do to enforce the understandings of the ceasefire and defend our security.
Yeah, Lebanon, just, you know, start a civil war with yourself really quick. Why don't you do that? Like, Christ, man. Okay.
The Secretary and I also discussed...
No, we'll do it for you. We'll invade you instead and remove the faction we don't like, even though they've been elected into the parliament. Doesn't matter. We're the only democracy in the Middle East, which means we can tell other democracies what to do.
How the many international institutions have been hijacked and turned into anti-American and anti-Israeli forums. We see that in the UN General Assembly, in the UN Human Rights Commission, where anti-Americanism is rampant, and more resolutions are passed about Israel than the rest of the world combined. And we see it especially in the lawfare that is being waged against America and Israel at the ICC, the ICJ, and elsewhere.
Lawfare. He's really picking his cues from Trump, isn't he? He's such a victim.
The ICC has outrageously libeled Israel and issued arrest warrants based on utter lies. Like America, Israel is not subject to the jurisdiction of the ICC.
Well, if if they were really lies, then, he wouldn't say that. Or if it was true, he would admit that it was true. Of course. He only is saying they're lies because they must be lies.
And does not accept the court's authority. Israel commends President Trump and his administration for restoring his executive order against the ICC and for moving quickly to sanction ICC officials. The Secretary and I discussed working together to formulate a common strategy to deal with the threat of lawfare and neutralize this threat once and for all.
Oh, cool.
So these are some of the issues we discussed today.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad. We don't want any more international law. None of that stuff. Only international law for countries that aren't allies of America. Only Russia. Only African countries. Not Israel, though.
Believe it or not, there are more. Many more. We can say that the Middle East today has many opportunities, many challenges, and we think we can realize the opportunities and also meet the challenges. And I have no doubt that working together, America and Israel will overcome the challenges and seize the opportunities. I have to say that I'm absolutely confident that under President Trump's leadership and working together with you, Secretary Rubio, Marco, the best days of our alliance are still yet to come. Welcome to Jerusalem. Welcome, my friend.
Does he have anything to say? Little Marco?
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. It is an honor to be back here. I've been here many times before as an American visiting and then as a member of the United States Senate, but now for the first time as the Secretary of State of the United States, and it's an honor to be here. And it's an honor to serve in this role on behalf of President Donald Trump, who, as you've accurately stated, Mr. Prime Minister, is a tremendous friend of Israel. There's been no stronger ally for Israel in the White House than President Trump. He's also a man that speaks clearly and unambiguously and makes clear his views on issues. The first he's made clear is, and as you've pointed out,
remember when he was like, you look at the education in Finland and China and Idaho, states like Iowa and Idaho will compete on the global stage with the students of China and Finland.
Whatever.
Out and the hostages need to come home. They need to be released. And you work in very close coordination with him. He's working in very close coordination, but with the Prime Minister and his government, in ensuring that happens. That must happen. It's not optional. And would add that that's a goal we share in common, and that is something we work on very closely together. The President's also been very bold about his view of what the future for Gaza should be. Not the same tired ideas of the past, but something that's bold and something that, frankly, took courage and vision in order.
Bold and courageous and bold. Yeah. Marco's really dumb. He's really, really dumb.
To outline. And it may have shocked and surprised many. But what cannot continue is the same cycle where we repeat over and over again and wind up in the exact same place. Related to that, the President's been very clear. Hamas cannot continue as a military or government force. And frankly, as long as it stands as a force that can govern or as a force that can administer or as a force that can threaten by use of violence, peace becomes impossible. They must be eliminated.
He looks terrified. Is he okay? Do they have a gun to his head or something? Like, what's going on?
It must be eradicated. On the broader issues that we discussed as well is the questions in Syria. And while the fall of Assad is certainly promising and important, if Syria replacing one destabilizing force for another is not a positive development. And that is something that we will watch very carefully as we seek to craft our own strategy with regards to how to approach the events in Syria. In the case of Lebanon, our goals are aligned and the same. A strong Lebanese state that can take on and disarm Hezbollah.
So why are they forcing Lebanon into another civil war? That's not a good thing. That'll make them strong, I guess.
Common theme in all of these challenges is Iran. It is the single greatest source of instability in the region. Behind every terrorist group, behind every act of violence, behind every destabilizing activity, behind everything that threatens peace and stability for the millions of people who call this region home, is Iran. And by Iran, I mean the Ayatollahs. By Iran, I mean its regime. A regime who, by the way, its people don't support. The people of Iran are victims of that regime.
It's exactly what they say about Hamas. And then they kill them and be like, well, we're saving them from the regime.
And so I think it's important to constantly point that whether we talk about Hamas or we talk about Hezbollah or we talk about violence in the West Bank or we talk about destabilization and...
You're telling me massacres in the West Bank are Iran too? What, is Iran in the IDF? Hello?
Syria, or we talk about any of these issues, the militias in Iraq, they all have behind them one common theme: Iran. And that must be addressed.
How?
And there can never be a nuclear Iran. A nuclear Iran that could then hold itself immune from pressure and from action.
What?
That can never happen. The president's been clear about that as well. And so
This is exactly why they should get a nuke, by the way. He just said it. When you have a nuke, you're immune to global pressure. Let's say they get a nuke. What are you going to do? Nuke them? But if they don't have a nuke, that is on the table. Think about it. We did not invade Iraq because we thought they had weapons of mass destruction. It was a demonstrable, clear lie from the State Department at the UN level. If we thought they did, we wouldn't have invaded in the first place. We know for a fact North Korea has nuclear weapons. We didn't fucking invade them for that shit. They're not exactly our ally.
Close where I began by reiterating our strong support for our allies, very close allies and partners here in Israel, to the people of this great country, for whom we have tremendous love and respect.
Love.
For everything you're facing, have faced, and continue to face. It is an extraordinary story of bravery. A nation founded in the ashes and in the aftermath of a horrifying crime against humanity, stood from its very inception, from the very day of its birth, against threats from every angle and every corner, and has served as an example to the world of a pluralistic society, a free enterprise democracy, and one that if there were more Israels in the Middle East, more countries like that, the world would be a safer and a better place.
Oh, that is the funniest thing you could possibly say as the fucking Secretary of State. Next to Benjamin Netanyahu, too. Oh my God. Every country should be Israel's. Interesting.
And this is what we hope for the region and for our planet. A nation that's always sought peace, but will not allow itself to be intimidated or destroyed by its enemies.
Wow. Yeah. That's Israel, sure. It's just so like, but you can't, but Iran is bad? Even though they're not letting themselves be intimidated, they're defending themselves. They don't want war with America, demonstrably. Like, hello? Yeah, even Israel doesn't agree with that description. True.
And on that front, you can always count on us. As long as I'm in this position and President Trump is in the White House. So thank you.
Yeah, Joe Biden was not a friend to Israel. Hell no. Joe Biden was a fake friend. Oh yeah, speaking of the Munich Security Conference, by the way, they also said this this was also something that happened. Also, just I wanted to show you guys this. Can we get a demonstrably counter? Hey,
He couldn't have been too impressed with our capital. It looks like shit.
I've only said it a couple of times. This is, guys, is this not Steve from Minecraft? Negative. Why did they do him like that? It looks just like him. Zionism doll. It is certainly Steve from Minecraft. Anyway. Senator Mark Warner at the Munich Security Conference wants you to know the real story behind the TikTok ban.
I trans Elon Musk and Marco Rubio genders in stream chat.
That Israel was driving the force behind its passage in Congress. This is from Dropsite News, by the way. I want to see if you're going to tell the real story, Warner said to former Congressman Mike Gallagher, a Palantir executive who, alongside Warner, first introduced the bill labeling TikTok a national security threat. That was in 2020. Gallagher responded, the bill... Or wait, this was in the Senate, so it was actually probably a couple years ago. The bill was still dead until October 7th, and people started to see a bunch of anti-Semitic content on the platform, and suddenly our bill had legs again. Also, this guy looks like Charlie Kirk. Anyway.
Mike, how did that legislation pass so quickly? If this is correct and there's not a lot of people that understand, somebody understood something.
I want to see if you're going to tell the real story.
Okay, the real. Well, first of all, let the record
We're talking
reflect.
about the TikTok legislation.
I
The
left,
real
no AI
story.
legislation.
Senator, I left to produce more human beings, and they cost money. They're not making me money. And if everyone had followed Frank and my Irish Catholic lead and repopulated the Earth, we would have already won this Cold War competition.
What? Repopulated the Earth? What happened?
How did it pass so quickly? I know we're running out of time. One, we stole
that fucking Thiel bubble. I know
the senator's work, and he did a lot of the sincerely a lot of the yeoman's work in drafting an initial bill. We were able to sort of learn from that experience. We refined the approach. We worked with him. We worked with the executive branch. So we had a bipartisan consensus. We had the executive branch, but the bill was still dead until October 7th, and people started to see a bunch of anti-Semitic content on the platform, and our bill had legs again. And then there was a huge miscalculation by TikTok. When it became apparent that we were going to pass it out of committee, they forced sort of a pop-up on the app that allowed people to call their members of Congress, and kids were calling into their members of Congress during school hours threatening to commit suicide if TikTok went away. And for those of us who are concerned about the use of this platform for propaganda purposes or brainwashing, it sort of proved the point in the moment, and suddenly the bill passed. So it was the threat.
Oh my God. Why did that never come up? Bold of those kids to assume their senators care. They don't is the thing too. They were like, yeah, they called, and then like a bunch of kids called and told their Congress people that they're going to commit suicide if they ban TikTok. And they were like, yeah, so we're going to do it. And we're not even going to mention this. We're not even going to like direct mental health funds into schools. We're going to actually abolish the Department of Education next. They said, do it, I guess. You won't. We never got a pop-up. I don't think it was every user, but I think they were. I think it was. Maybe it wasn't a pop-up. Maybe it was like a message from the CEO. I got one. Yeah, I didn't remember seeing one either. but I think there was a couple of initiatives to get people to contact their Congress people.
Threat of espionage, the threat of propaganda, the good work of Senator Warner, and a few other players that all conspired.
And he got it out of a committee that is the most diverse in the House, from left to right, 50-0 after a classified. That was he did a, it was.
Yeah, from the pro-life crowd, exactly. Save the kids.
People would not have bet on, but he and his Democratic colleagues did some great.
But to your point about democracy, I mean, that was a 3-year endeavor and it failed, 100 times, and we just had to keep working it.
So let me do this. We are out of time. We're getting the axe.
We're getting the axe. I wish. Speaking of Congress and the American government, I'm going to put this on. It might not be long enough for me to pee, though. This was just on the timeline this morning. You guys ever think about the fact that Reagan just straight up committed treason in office and got away with it? And someone said, not as much as I think about the fact that American Dad did a musical number about it. And this is true. This is real, by the way. This is, if anything, charitable to Ronald Reagan.
Who's Oliver North?
What? I can't believe you kids don't know about the great patriot Ollie North.
Basically, Ollie North is a great example, too, because Ollie North is now Marco Rubio. Ollie North is now RFK Jr. We're run by an entire administration of Ollie Norths. Elon Musk, even.
Was their mantra?
Yeah, freedom. The Contras were really into freedom. Death squads and cocaine smuggling. Death squads is, again, charitable. That's really funny. I mean, again, this is Stan Smith speaking. But, like, God, we love creating our own enemies and then being like, what the fuck, man? Why are you guys... And yeah, he is... I think he retired, but he was a Fox News commentator for years. Many years. Listen, guys, America investigated itself and found no wrongdoing. So what? He sold weapons to technically an American adversary and gave the money to, fucking drug trafficking cartel of anti-communist, anti-feminist, sexual assaulting murderers. The Contras are like a genuinely plague of their era. They were a fucking horrible force. They did unspeakable shit to nuns and orphans. It was fucking so destructive. That's what Ollie North was paying for. Then he went on Fox News. Love America. But freedom was their mantra. That's right. They liked America. And that's all it takes, I guess. And not liking communism, of course. Don't you have to pee? Yes, but I had to stay to shit on America and Ronald Reagan. Once again. I'm just trying to figure out what I was going to do next. Oh my God. I'm going to pee. I'm going to pee, and then when we come back, he wants out. I just let him out, too. So, no, I think he just wants attention. I'm going to pee, and then when I come back... Whoa! No. You wait. I don't know. Second pee. I'm going to pee when we come back. Friend of the show, Arun Ano, just released his first of 3 parts of his documentary about the Tamil struggle in southern India, and in Elam. And I wanted to give it a watch because he put a ton of work into it. I talked to him about it personally when we met for TwitchCon, and he's a very smart guy. He's very passionate. So this is going to be a very educational video. We're back. We did it. Chat, what do we think? Stream schedule? Yay or nay? I've been following the stream schedule for like basically a month. It's been like 4 or 5 weeks at this point. Maybe a few misses here and there. But like, I love the earlier streams. Yeah, I try to stream earlier, but sometimes I just don't have... I have other shit to do until like 6, 7 p.m. if I don't wake up early enough. Big yays. Absolute yay. Vacation doesn't count as a miss. Yeah, I think Monday, Tuesday is just a good day for me to try to lock in on other stuff and like videos. But other than that, I think it works good. Epicest stream schedule. Yeah, 5 big booms. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I do it for. That's what it's all about. Monday, Tuesday is for Updog. Sunday is good. I've been liking it. And more people have been jumping in, being pissers. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate anybody who just... Yeah. I downloaded Helldivers last night, chat. That's awesome. Yeah, chat dressed to impress. I don't think there's any point in playing random lobbies if people are like filtering in and out of the chat one, right? We can just all play together. And I mean, I know people have to wait, but... Part 1 of a new 3-part series by friend of the show, Arun Ano. A passionate Tamil advocate and a Tamil Indian person himself. Trigger warnings and the link are in pinned. Thank you. Yeah, this does discuss war and tragedy and genocide and all the things associated.
אלא גם את אלו שנועדו להיות מקומות מסתור למחבלים. אני אומר לראשי הטרור.
Remember the day that the whole country will look up to you. The final battle for our people will be fought in the deserts of Negev. You are men and women who will carry the country's destiny on your shoulders. Those who are attempting to divide this country will have to reckon with you. The country may forget you for a few years, but one day very soon they will look up to you as the last bastion of the Jews.
אתם לא יכולים להתחבא.
שמענו השבוע בתקשורת כל מיני הדלפות ותדרוכים.
Thank you, Prism, for the pin. I'm not worried about the opinion of the Arabs now. Now we cannot think of them, not about their lives or their opinion about us. The more you put pressure in Gaza, the happier our people will be here. Really, if I starve the Arabs, our people will be happy. Itamar Ben-Gvir.
Massacres, bombing of hospitals, deprivation of aid, calling civilians terrorists and terrorists civilians, human shields, bombing safe zones, assassinating leaders, and far more. Death and destruction inundate the atmosphere, and no one knows when the army will claim your life. Every second there's a chance that a bomb could drop, and within seconds, your mom, dad, uncle, aunt, sibling, child, and your own life could be robbed from you. Welcome to the Pearl of the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka, in the year 2009.
Don Stephen Sinayake, first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. But remember that one day the whole country will look up to you. The final battle for the Sinhala, our people, will be fought in the plains of Padavia. You are men and women who will carry this island's destiny on your shoulders. Those who are attempting to divide this country will have to reckon with you. The country may forget you for a few years, but one day, very soon, they will look up to you as the last bastion of the Sinhala. Oh, Senanayaka? Senanayaka? Okay, thank you. My bad. I'm probably butchering a lot of the Indian names. I'm really sorry about that. The locations and the people's names. No way BB plagiarized his speech. I think it's more about the yeah, he never plagiarized anything. It's the recycling of the fascist principles.
אבל עדיין עסקה מופקרת.
I'm not worried about the opinion of the Tamil people now. Now we cannot think of them, not about their lives or their opinion about us. The more you will put pressure in the north, the happier the Sinhala people will be here. Really, if I starve the Tamils, the Sinhala people will be happy. Oh, Junius Richard Jayawardene, the president of Sri Lanka from 1978 to 1989.
Mass murder, bombing of hospitals, deprivation of aid, calling civilians terrorists, and terrorists civilians. The situation is bleak to say the least, but the world ahead will no longer be the same, and we can be more than sure that the same horrors will not repeat. That's what the Tamils experiencing Sri Lanka's crimes against humanity had hoped 15 years prior.
Just Mode, thank you for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Oh, it got censored. Sorry.
But now, amidst the atrocities in Gaza, they see the same acts repeating. This may surprise you, but every tactic being used in Gaza right now was used in Sri Lanka, studied by the world, and employed elsewhere. Sri Lanka gives us an idea of what might happen next in Palestine, as the atrocities and cultural erasure against the Tamil people in Sri Lanka continue to occur unabated. No lessons learned, no reconciliation. Atrocities against the Tamils continue unabashed, whether it be the seizing of land by the army, the attempts at culturally erasing Tamil heritage by claiming Hindu temples and Christian churches as Buddhist land, the ethnocratic Sri Lankan state forcibly disappearing Tamils in white vans never to be seen again, the systemic violence the Sri Lankan state and the army inflict upon the Tamils endures. Not so long ago, in the year 2009, when America was inaugurating and celebrating its first black president, Barack Obama, on the other side of the world, in Sri Lanka, the same war crimes you're now seeing in Gaza was taking place.
The UN Special Panel report published this April found that government heavy artillery was constantly retargeted on the so-called no-fire zones.
But in order to understand how we got to the bombings of hospitals and schools, and numerous other war crimes that took place, we first have to understand how we got there, and that requires us to understand Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has four major ethnic groups: the Sinhalese, the Elam Tamils, the Muslims, and the Hill or Malayaga Tamils. The Sinhalese comprise the majority of the country at 75% of the population, and are concentrated in the southwest and central parts of the country. Their origins are what is now eastern India and Bangladesh. Religion-wise, the Sinhalese are overwhelmingly Theravada Buddhist, with a sizable Roman Catholic Christian minority. The Sinhala language is an Indo-Aryan language, making it cousins of North Indian languages such as Hindi, Bengali, and Punjabi, as well as distant cousins of European languages like English, Spanish, and French. The Tamils are an ethnic group that are native to both southern India and northeastern Sri Lanka. The Elam Tamils are the Tamils native to the northern and eastern coasts of Sri Lanka, and have been there since antiquity. The Tamil language belongs to the independent Dravidian language family, and is the Dravidian language with the longest written history, going back to at least 500 BC.
Holy shit.
The Elam Tamils are majority Shaivite Hindu, with a significant minority being Christian, and a very tiny minority being Buddhist. The Malayaga or Hill Tamils are the descendants of indentured servants from southern India, brought by the British during colonial times to the areas surrounding the city of Kandy to work the tea plantations. Like the Elam Tamils, their spoken language is Tamil, although the dialect in which they speak is more similar to the Tamil you might hear in India. The Muslims of Sri Lanka are an ethnic group that live all over the island, and are primarily defined by the religion that they profess, namely Islam. Historically, the
Arun, I don't know if you're still here, but the editing is incredible in this.
home language of the Muslims was
It's incredibly comprehensive, and it's really informative, which I struggle a lot with, just like visual information.
and continues to mostly be Tamil. Most Muslims live in the southwest of the country alongside the Sinhalese as a minority. However, there are cities in the eastern province with a predominantly Muslim population. This video will largely focus on the genocide that Elam Tamils and Malayaga Tamils experienced collectively, and I hope to dedicate separate videos to the struggles of the Muslims and Malayaga Tamils, as their struggles deserve to be brought to the spotlight. Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists bear many similarities to Zionists, religious, ethno-nationalist zealots that engage in a campaign of settler colonialism and
mobs in Sri Lanka burned 13 people alive, part of a week-long massacre that turbocharged simmering ethnic unrest.
Yeah.
Get the out of the country. This is Jewish country only. We don't need Muslims here.
We'll get to this in a second. Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists claim that they are indigenous and the first quote-unquote civilized people of Sri Lanka, citing the 1500-year-old text, the Mahavamsa, as their source of indigeneity. The Sinhalese, however, are actually descendants of people who originally came to the island from eastern India, from the modern states of Odisha and West Bengal. The original indigenous people of Sri Lanka are the Vedas. According to the Mahavamsa, the Veda are the offspring of the progenitor of the Sinhalese prince Vijaya and a demon named Kuveni. Soon after having children, however, Prince Vijaya banishes Kuveni and their children into the forest, thereby creating the indigenous Veda. The Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists cite their indigeneity to lay claim to the entire island of Sri Lanka, painting the Tamils as invaders to the island, despite the Tamils having been there for several thousand years. One of the stories extensively laid out in the Mahavamsa is the story of King Duttugemanu fighting against the Tamil Chola king Yalalan, who had at that point seized power in the historic capital, Anuradhapura. When he starts lamenting the thousands of Tamils that he killed, the 8 Arhats, enlightened disciples of the Buddha, console him by telling him that he only killed Tamil unbelievers who are no better than beasts. They then go on to say, "Thou wilt bring glory to the doctrine of the Buddha in manifold ways." Therefore,
the story happened in 200 BC, by the way. Interesting.
Cast away care from thy heart, O ruler of men. Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism states that the island of Sri Lanka is the Buddha's promised land for his chosen people, the Sinhalese. The People's Tribunal of Sri Lanka mentions that major...
Yeah, this is sounding familiar. So these Nazis are crying over something that happened 2,200 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, this sounds familiar.
Political figures throughout Sri Lanka likened themselves to previous Sinhalese figures like King Parakramabahu and Buddhist figures like Bodhisattvas in order to rouse nationalist and anti-Tamil sentiments. One of the biggest proponents of Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism is Annagarika Dharmapala, whom I'd like to introduce with something he said about Sri Lanka's Muslims. The Mohammedan, an alien people by Shylockian method, became prosperous like the Jews. The Sinhalese sons of soils, whose ancestors for 2,358 years had shed rivers of blood to keep the country free from alien invaders, are in the eyes of the British only vagabonds. The alien South Indian Mohammedan comes to Ceylon, sees the neglected villager without any experience in trade, and the result is that the Mohammedan thrives and the son of the soil goes to the wall. Annagarika Dharmapala was the world's first modern global Buddhist missionary. He was one of the principal figures responsible for bringing Buddhism to the West. Back home in Sri Lanka, however, he's the godfather of Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism. This bright, beautiful island was made into a paradise by the
So anti-Muslim bigotry in Sri Lanka is very different than anti-Muslim bigotry elsewhere. That makes sense. It's repackaged anti-Semitism. Holy shit. Wild how it just goes full horseshoe back into anti-Semitism.
In Sinhalese before its destruction was brought about by the barbaric Vandals. Its people did not know irreligion. Christianity and polytheism are responsible for the vulgar practices of killing animals, stealing, prostitution, licentiousness, lying, and drunkenness. The ancient, historic, refined people under the diabolism of vicious paganism introduced by the British administrators are now declining slowly away. One thing to note here is that Anagarika is making a claim that vicious paganism, presumably Hinduism or Shaivism, was, quote, introduced by British administrators, an obviously false claim that is meant to portray Tamils as outsiders and invaders to the island. We could simply wrap up this section of the documentary with a bow and call it a day. However, there is a bit more to the story. The truth is that the Sinhala Buddhist nationalism that we understand today is actually not 2,000 years old, but 200 years old. It was wholesale cooked up by the British in order to help maintain their control of the subcontinent from Sri Lanka.
So the thing is, actually, the whole idea of Sinhala Buddhist nationalism, it was not something that British actually exploited this or used it for their purpose or something like that, but actually they formulated it. They basically constructed it from the scratch, fusing the ethnic component with the religious component and make it as one identity, as Sinhala Buddhist identity. That was done in 19th century.
As a part of unifying...
Yeah, that's exactly what Israel does to Judaism. It's the exact same premise of Zionism. And on top of that, it's something that America does. It's something that America did covertly in South Korea with Christian nationalism. Sinhala Buddhist nationalism. Yeah, it's like the fact that the British colonial forces did that is probably something that America either did in tandem or learned from. Because holy shit.
The entirety of the island, the British needed to destroy the affiliations with old kingdoms that the Sinhalese once had, and they needed to make the local Sinhalese population identify with the new unitary state structure that they were imposing on the island.
And the thing is, but the native people, natives who lived in that territory, didn't see it as one country because they belonged to certain different kingdoms, So they were calling, in Sinhala language, for example, the people used to call Rata, which means country, to the kingdom they lived. So their Rata was not the entire country in the way that we understand it now. Their Rata was actually the kingdom that they lived in. So that mentality has to be basically dismantled in order to make it, a natural kind of entity that people have a connection with. So Sinhala Buddhist nationalism was actually constructed in order to connect the native population with the British-built state structure.
That's wild. They're westernizing their sense of identity from a localized sense into it's the whole island. It's it's more nationalistic. It's more fucking Western brain, more imperialist brain. Very crazy.
So within the next 100 years from the 19th century, that was basically in the fields of historiography, which started with the discovering of...
Yeah, this is a friend of the show, Arun Ano. Everyone subscribe. Send love his way. This is an incredible documentary.
Mahavansa, in the field of archaeology and in the field of anthropology, physical anthropology. Basically, British constructed an identity, not simply
Oh yeah, of course. Arun also streams on Twitch on weekends. Covering Indian and South Asian politics. Mods, can we get a shout out to Arun? Everyone can go follow Arun on Twitch as well. Yeah, not primarily a YouTuber. But everyone should watch this and like it, and also keep an eye out for the next part.
Of the native people who lived in that country, but they separated the Sinhala Buddhist people and made it as a kind of hybrid identity. And presented it as kind of, they basically connected it to the state structure. So the Sinhala Buddhist identity became an integral part of the state structure, and people started thinking this unitary structure is something that belongs to us, the Sinhala Buddhist. Whoever that are living in the country, living in the island, they are kind of secondary. And actually, Anagarika Dharampala, even though he was, everybody knows that he's a kind of an open kind of instigator of anti-Tamil, anti-Muslim violence, and kind of hatred towards the non-Sinhala, non-Buddhist communities. But actually, he's a kind of an indicator of how successful the British project was, actually. Because in his writings, when you go through his writings, where he clearly says, before reading Mahavansa, I never knew about the glorious past of the Sinhalese.
However, the irony of Anagarika's tirade against the British is that the very text that he was inspired by, the Mahavamsa, was relatively unknown to the Sinhalese people for centuries because it was written in the Pali language, a dead language that few on the island spoke. It was British colonial linguists that first discovered the Mahavamsa, then translated it into English, then into Sinhala. It was the translation of the Mahavamsa, along with the archaeological discoveries of a, quote, ancient Aryan civilization on the island, that laid the groundwork for the resurgence of Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism.
Mahavamsa was, basically digged out from a place which was written in Pali, and it was digged out by a British colonial officer who was working under the British administration. And he did it accidentally because he was involved in some other kind of, trying to sort out a dispute between two temples. And where he accidentally found this book, which he claims that until I found this book, nobody seemed to have noticed this book, the importance of it, which connects India's history to Sri Lanka's history, or Ceylon's history, So the thing is, when they dig out Mahavamsa and when they started looking at it, they found, for the colonial rulers, they found it's quite important as part of, to justify or to naturalize the newly constructed the Sinhala Buddhist identity,
This idea of Sinhalese being Aryans, and thus the rightful owners of the land, was further reinforced by the Nazis when Heinrich Himmler appointed a 5-person team to find the origins of the Aryan race. They originally sent the 5-person team to Colombo in Sri Lanka in order to study the Aryan people living in Sri Lanka, namely the Sinhalese. Using the Mahavamsa, Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists lay claim to all of Sri Lanka, similar to how Zionists used the expulsion of Jewish people from Judea and Samaria to lay claim to the area of all of modern-day Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza. Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists within the Sri Lankan government since independence in 1948 have specifically engaged in state-sponsored settler colonialism against the Tamils. These schemes are specifically designed to displace the Tamil population and slowly shift the demographics such that the Northeast will become majority Sinhalese, and the Tamil-speaking populations will become minorities in their own native land. Sinhalese settlers were provided with preferential privileged access.
That happened, not a proper comparison.
Something similar happened in Somaliland. The Italians empowered the various Somali tribal rulers through fascist nationalism. Eventually Mohamed Sid Barre utilized a populist socialist movement, which was a genuinely good movement, and Western backing against the Daesh, communist Ethiopian junta, to fulfill HIS goal to genocidate Isaac in Somaliland, which have viewed as Arab invaders.
Yeah, fascist, ethno-nationalism is super easy to puppeteer as an occupying power. It makes a faction that's very predictable and very loyal as long as you're supplying them weapons for their ends. And it's something that has happened, countless times throughout imperialist history.
Access to land, which was routinely denied to the Tamil-speaking population of the area.
And boy, did Sri Lanka get weapons.
But remember that one day the whole country will look up to you. The final battle for the Sinhala, our people, will be fought in the plains of Padavia. You are men and women who will carry this island's destiny on your shoulders. Those who are attempting to divide this country will have to reckon with you. The country may forget you for a few years, but one day, very soon, they will look up to you as the last bastion of the Sinhala. The Sri Lankan rate of population growth was one of the highest in Asia in the 19th century. The population boom created a Sinhalese landlord class, which in turn also created a Sinhalese landless peasant class. This was also at a time when there was scarcity of land in the Sinhalese-dominated south. This drive to colonize the northeast portions of the island, which was where all the dry lands were, was a way for the land-owning Sinhalese bourgeois, predominantly coming from the Govigama caste, and the British colonial government to appeal to the landless Sinhalese peasants hailing from the highlands of Kandy. The primary form of Sinhalese settler colonization was, and continues to be carried out, through government-sponsored irrigation projects. The Sri Lankan state used these irrigation schemes as an excuse.
There's extra stuff I wanted to put in there, but I couldn't due to time constraints. That's real. All of my videos are like that. Trust. The reason why Sri Lanka had a huge rate of population growth when India was starving, that's not necessarily. It doesn't debunk anything that you didn't leave it in there though. But I see what you mean.
Used to settle the landless Sinhalese peasants on Tamil, Muslim, and Veda land. This Sinhalese landlord class that many refer to is actually the Sinhalese Govigama caste. The first colonization scheme was enacted in the 1940s, right around the time of independence, under D.S. Senanayake. The scheme targeted the Gull Oya Valley in the island's southeast, where the largest ethnic group were the Muslims, and the second largest ethnic group were the island's Tamils. The Gull Oya project was the first large-scale project on the island, wherein a dam in the southeastern region, in what was then the Batticaloa district in the northeast, was to be constructed. The government would intentionally misrepresent areas of the Batticaloa district as uninhabited as an excuse to settle Sinhala peasant workers. At least tens of thousands of Sinhalese workers were settled in the east between 1948 and 1957, and many of those Sinhalese peasant workers were armed by the government with the intention of chasing out the local Tamils that lived in the district.
Jesus.
During the process of
that's literally what fucking Israeli settlers do as well.
This colonization, an area in the southern province of the Batticaloa district that was wholly undeveloped during the British colonial era, would be fully transformed into a bustling town to house the people that were working on the Gull Oya Dam. This town was named Ampara. Over time, what happened as a result of this project was that due to the huge population increase in Sinhalese settlers, the Sinhalese actually ended up becoming the largest minority in the southern half of Batticaloa district, outright displacing the Tamils and making the Tamils the third largest group. In 1961, nearly 15 years after independence, the Sri Lankan government carved a new district out of Batticaloa. This new district was given the name Ampara, with the capital of the district being Ampara, the town that was built to house the Gull Oya Dam construction workers. According to the 2012 census, the largest group in Ampara district continues to be Muslim, while the capital of Ampara district, Ampara town, is 99% Sinhalese. In 1948, the same year he started the Gull Oya project and the same year Sri Lanka got independence, D.S. Senanayake started a series of irrigation projects in the southern part of the eastern province's Trincomalee district. Trincomalee district was historically majority Tamil while having a sizable Muslim population. It was also home to a notable indigenous coastal Veda population. The first of these irrigation projects was the Kandalai colonization scheme, which involved a tank to irrigate the paddy fields. 40,000 of the now 86,000 Sinhalese living in Kandalai, which was about half the Sinhalese population, were a direct result of the Kandalai colonization project. In 1951, the Alai irrigation scheme was enacted. The scheme involved the construction of an anacut through the Vargal River. Along with this irrigation scheme came the swallowing of ancient Tamil towns as Sinhalese settlers were relocated here. Kallar was named Somapura, Neelapalai was named Neelapola, part of Punagar was named Mahindapura, Tirumangalai was renamed Sri Mangalagama, and Aripu became Seranuwara, the location of the new Sarawila Divisional Secretariat that would be cleaved from the Tamil and Muslim majority Mudur division. In Neelapalai's case, the government specifically settled, quote, rough elements from nearby Polonnaruwa in the north central province. During the Black July pogroms in 1983, the remaining Tamils in Neelapalai and other towns would be chased out by the Sinhalese settlers. Most of these colonies allocated under the Alai irrigation scheme now fall under the Sarawila Divisional Secretariat, which according to the 2012 census is 69% Sinhalese. A result of both the Gull Oya irrigation scheme and the later Mahawali development program started in the 60s was that much of the indigenous Veda population that was living in the eastern province were forcibly evicted by both Sinhalese settlers and the government and relocated onto reservations. The remaining Veda people in the eastern province were then assimilated into the Tamil ethnic group later on. To this day, there are only a total of 10,000 Veda on the entire island, relegated to these reservations as tourist attractions as they fight to retain their identity against the pressure of assimilation into the Sinhalese. Another result of these irrigation schemes and the Sinhalese settlers antagonizing and chasing out the Tamil population was that the Tamils, who were once the majority of Trincomalee district in 1921, are now the second largest group, the largest minority, following the Muslims. In 1956, Sinhalese nationalist Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike and his Sri Lanka Freedom Party passed the Official Language Act, commonly known as the Sinhala Only Act. This law replaced English with Sinhala as the official language, but specifically excluded Tamil, the other major language spoken on the island. To underline how drastically different Tamil and Sinhala are as languages, Tamil is as close to Sinhala as Japanese is to English. They are totally different languages from totally different language families. The passage
I think adding the context before that of like where the languages came from is really interesting, because it does provide like an extra layer of like how much pressure the Tamils were under from the government, basically.
The Sinhala Only Act effectively prevented 30% of the population whose native language is Tamil from getting and keeping government jobs, which are one of the main viable sources of income. This also meant that government social safety nets were made unavailable to the Tamil speakers of the island.
Yeah, I mean, that's apartheid. I mean, you're rapidly approaching apartheid at that point.
This led to multiple protests from Tamil political
parties. You're just
parties,
isolating an entire demographic of people on the basis of that being in that demographic,
which were promptly met with government-sanctioned violence, leading to the deaths of at least 150 Tamils. Much of this violence happened in the Galoya colonies, where Sinhalese settlers massacred roughly 100 Tamils. One of the fallouts of the Sinhala Only Act was that Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists were emboldened to enforce the Sinhala language upon the Tamil speakers, namely the Elam Tamils, the Malayaga Tamils, and Muslims. To this end, Sinhalese nationalists started printing the word Shri in the Sinhala script on license plates, symbolizing the desire to Sinhalize the name of what was then called Ceylon into Sri Lanka. In response, the anti-Shri campaign began on the Tamil side, smearing the word Shri on license plates with tar. This was another act of mobilization on the Tamil side, which would be met with violence. On May 24, 1958, violence broke out in Polonnaruwa district near the Eastern Province. Tamils, as well as any Sinhala person who attempted to protect the Tamils, were attacked, raped, and murdered en masse by a Sinhalese mob. In fact, Sinhalese who were suspected of hiding Tamils had, quote, their brains strewn about.
Jesus.
The next day, a Sinhalese mob attacked a sugarcane plantation full of Tamil workers and their families. When the mob attacked, the workers and their families tried to hide in the bushes. In response, the mob set the entire field on fire. As the Tamils were forced out of the burning sugarcane field, the mob murdered the men, women, and children using homemade swords and grass-cutting knives and machetes. In a nearby town, mobs ripped open the belly of an 8-month pregnant woman and let her bleed to death.
Jesus
Necklacing
Christ.
is a form of extrajudicial summary execution and torture, wherein a rubber tire is drenched with gasoline, forced onto the victim's chest and arms, and is lit on fire, thereby burning the victim alive. This tactic, which has been used all around the world, was first attested in the 1958 anti-Tamil pogroms used by Sinhalese nationalist mobs against Tamil civilians. In the wake of the Sinhala Only Act and the resulting mobilization of Tamil political activists, state-backed Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists became more and more emboldened to engage in terrorism and ethnic pogroms against the Elam Tamils living in the northeast, the Malayaga Tamils living in the highlands.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's any like pushback. It just like the settlers in fucking Israel, there's no repercussions. There's no fucking protections for the Tamils. Just Dark, are you drunk? This is a Retha relevant Twitch channel nonetheless. Anki Russian near outlets use Dresden compare. Come again. Only. Pete Hegseth burner Twitch account. Take an hour off.
And the Tamils living in
no drinking and chatting when you're that drunk.
Colombo. In 1970, the wife of former Prime Minister SWRD Bandaranaike, Sirima Bandaranaike, became the world's first woman Prime Minister.
You are the first woman Prime Minister in the world.
She soon followed in her husband's footsteps by enacting a number of measures designed to legally make Tamils second-class citizens, such as forcing Tamil civil servants to learn the Sinhala language in order to be promoted, requiring Tamils to negotiate in the Sinhalese language with Sinhalese civil servants stationed in Tamil-dominated areas, making the court Sinhala only, including in the Tamil-speaker-dominated Northeast, banning the import of publications promoting Tamil culture coming from the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu in India.
Yeah, is Just Dark saying that like Al Jazeera is a Russian media source or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah, and continuing the government-backed Sinhalese ethnic settlements in the Tamil and Muslim-dominated Northeast that her predecessors had been engaging in since the 1950s. One of the long-lasting projects spearheaded by
Thank
the
you for the
world's
context. I read that silently just because I was trying to pay attention.
first woman prime minister was the Mahaweli Development Program, which designated certain areas of the island as prime targets for development, some of which were in the Tamil-dominated Northeast. The official state-provided reason behind the project was that the Sri Lankan government wanted to develop the land, and in particular, the irrigation mechanisms of the dry zones of the island, where the dry zones comprise the Tamil and Muslim-dominated eastern and northern provinces. This is one of the main legal mechanisms that the government would use to settle Sinhalese, including the predominantly Sinhalese army and police, on Tamil and Muslim land. Sirima also oversaw the full independence of Sri Lanka from the British, as well as the renaming of the island from Ceylon to Sri Lanka, and a new constitution that her government drafted. With the constitution came Article 6, with a notable provision. The Republic of Sri Lanka shall give to Buddhism the foremost place, and accordingly it shall be the duty of the state to protect and foster Buddhism, while assuring to all religions the rights granted by Section 18. The Sri Lankan constitution makes it abundantly clear that Buddhism is the foremost religion on the island. In 1976, the Tamil United Liberation Front, aka TULF, led by SJV Chelvanayagam, signed the Vattukotte Resolution, calling for the creation of an independent country named Tamil Eelam, comprising the Tamil-speaking Northeast. This resolution was signed after decades of apartheid-like policies enacted by Sinhalese nationalist politicians. Sirima's party, former Prime Minister SWRD's Sri Lanka Freedom Party, would be blown out in the 1977 Sri Lankan parliamentary elections, and the election would see the restoration of power to DS Senanayaka's neoliberal UNP under a new leader, J.R. Jayawardena, a distant cousin of the Senanayaka family. The UNP government initiated a process of economic liberalization, making the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka the first country in South Asia to liberalize its economy. The UNP, as part of this economic liberalization plan, unveiled an ambitious development plan to irrigate and further colonize the Northeast, an acceleration to his predecessor's Mahaweli program. The minister put in charge of the Mahaweli project was a man named Gamini Dissanayake. In order to implement this irrigation plan and colonization scheme, the Jayawardena administration worked with foreign consultants such as the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. USAID was so intimately involved with the project that they made recommendations to the Sri Lankan government such as, quote, publishing 14 crop production and marketing profiles for field-based manuals in both English and Sinhala. When looking through this document, we searched for the term Tamil to see whether or not any resources were given out in the Tamil language as they were in Sinhala and English, but there were no references to Tamils in this document. However, in another USAID document, they mentioned the Sinhalese Tamil question. No further explanation regarding the meaning of the Sinhalese Tamil question is provided in the document. This means that the United States was acutely aware of the problems being faced by the Tamils, yet proceeded to help the Sinhalese nationalist Sri Lankan government with its colonization scheme. In those days, Sri Lanka was really the darling of the development assistance community because it seemed like it was doing everything right. It had, in its earlier years, emphasized the social dimensions, the so-called, quote, physical...
Implying that USAID supported this is ridiculous. I think it's more so that the United States is blind to the apartheid because, you know, they like right-wing fascists. Why wouldn't the U.S. like right-wing fascists? They always have.
Quality of life dimension. Partially because of the British policy which emphasized education, health, and infrastructure, literacy and longevity were quite high.
Yeah, they directly funded this project that displaced Tamils, and then acknowledged that there was a Tamil question, a Sinhalese Tamil question. Like they honestly, like, yeah, no, you're right, Arun. They collaborated and were aware of what was happening, at least to a certain extent. They were duped into thinking it was genuine development. I don't know about duped. Maybe if there was no mention of the Sinhalese Tamil question, you could make that an argument, but they did mention it.
infant mortality was quite low relative to per capita income in Sri Lanka. However, under Prime Minister Bandaranaike during the early and mid-70s, Sri Lanka had followed disastrous economic policies. In 1978, under a new government headed by J.R. Jayawardena, there was a move back to free market policies and an opening towards the West. So, Sri Lanka looked like a marvelous place to go, a real development laboratory. Another country that was intimately involved in the development of the Mahawali project was Israel. The previous administration under Sirima Bandaranaike was significantly more hostile to Israel and had generally taken the side of the surrounding Arab countries, as would Jayawardena's successor Ranasinghe Premadasa. When J.R. Jayawardena became president, Sri Lanka started turning to Israel for many things such as military aid, counterintelligence...
Jump scare? It shouldn't be that surprising.
...and development. Some of the contracts regarding the development of the Mahawali project ended up being taken on by Israeli construction and civil engineering firm Solel Bone, the very same company that prefabricated the buildings in the Tower and Stockade settlements during the 1936 to 1939 Arab revolts.
But they did not enter with intention to genocide the Tamil. I mean, you could say that, you know, America is supporting Israel not with the intention to genocide Palestinians, but to support Israel and their economy. Like, you could make that argument, but they acknowledged that there was conflict between two demographics of people and then continued to fund the genocide of the people they acknowledged and then dismissed. But regardless, yeah, it doesn't really matter what the intention is. But the U.S. literally is doing that. Biden said that. Yeah, and it's wrong. Even if that's what they say, they're still, like, wrong for that. Yeah, and it's the same result. Like, you're directly supporting a genocide and funding it.
Very settlements that would lay the foundation for the state of Israel.
Even you're participating in the apartheid by depriving the Tamils of resources that they would even understand. It's important to separate because of the current U.S. aid events. No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. No, it's not related to Elon being like, you know, we're giving condoms to Hamas or whatever. It's nothing to do with anything. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Arun knows what he's talking about.
Israeli architect Ulrich Plesner planned 6 new towns for the Mahawali settlements.
Like, U.S. aid is still critical support to U.S. aid in Africa. I agree. And Hank, I know you're an African studies guy. Go back a little. Even still, U.S. aid is, and we acknowledge this, U.S. aid is a demonstration of U.S. soft power. We just flex the money that we have and use it to support our allies, regardless of, like, you know, it's just for our soft power and influence globally.
Prefabricated the buildings in the Tower and Stockade settlements during the 1936 to 1939 Arab revolts, the very settlements that would lay the foundation for the state of Israel.
Wait, sorry, I gotta go back more.
Successor Ranasinghe Premadasa. When J.R. Jayawardena became president, Sri Lanka started turning to Israel for many things such as military aid, counterintelligence, and development. Some of the contracts regarding the development of the Mahawali project ended up being taken on by Israeli construction and civil engineering firm Solel Bone, the very same company that prefabricated the buildings in the Tower and Stockade settlements during the 1936 to 1939 Arab revolts, the very settlements that would lay the foundation for the state of Israel.
Pioneering operations? Why do they call it that? Like they're fucking prospecting for gold. I hate that. That's exactly what they call it in America, too, when they did Manifest Destiny. The Mormons were the pioneers in the fucking indigenous genocide. It's just pioneers, man. We're discovering new land. No one's ever been here before.
39 Arab revolts, the very settlements that would lay the foundation for the state of Israel. Israeli
Columbus
architect Ulrich Plesner planned 6 new towns for the Mahawali settlements. It was also reported that the idea for accelerating the Mahawali development plan was given to Gamini Disanaike and the Jayawardena government by a Mossad agent, Amy Yar. The Mahawali plan identified 13 systems in the dry zone to be developed, named B, C, H, G, L, etc., and the settlers that were chosen for these areas were again almost entirely Sinhalese. 2 of those systems are in the northeast. System B...
Like, this is identical to, like, shit the Nazis were trying to do. Like, the way they're trying to fucking specifically develop displace and resettle patches of land to meet demographic concerns. It's exactly what the Nazis were doing with annexed territory.
In the remainder of the eastern province's Barikolo district after Ampara was carved out, and System L in the northern province's Mulaytiva district. Buddhist meditation centers were built in these colonies, and books were distributed in these areas in order to, quote, promote spirituality. The Mahaweli project and program makes it abundantly clear who the settlers mainly are.
The Mahaweli authorities will not only lead the settlers towards
pathologic autism. Thank you for the 4 months. Much appreciated. Sri Lanka is still supporting Israel by sending workers to replace Israelis, Palestinian slaves. Sri Lanka and Israel signed an agreement. Yeah, I'm sure Arun has like a modern section planned for this series because, yeah, the dynamic between America, Sri Lanka, and Israel is also still very much relevant.
Material prosperity, but also provide them with spiritual guidance to make them morally upright. On full moon days, every family has been advised to go to the Buddhist temple, offer flowers, perform other rites, listen to sermons, and observe Buddhist precepts. Their engagement in rituals, ceremonies, and reciting of Pali stanzas is only the first step in their spiritual ascent, as this only attunes the minds for higher and more important religious exercises.
Part 3 covers 2009 to present. Badass.
1979, the Mahaweli Authority Act No. 23 was passed, declaring the land designated for the Mahaweli Development Program to be property of the state, including land in the B&L systems. This meant that land that belonged to the Tamils and Muslims was now property of the Sinhalese Buddhist nationalist state. Once the war starts, we begin to see more and more state seizure of Tamil land. Around the same time, a young Tamil student by the name of Velu Pillai Prabhakaran started getting involved in politics. In 1972, he, along with a few of his associates, would found a militant organization named the Tamil New Tigers. Just a couple of days after New Year's 1974, the 4th World Tamil Research Conference was held in the northern city of Jaffna, despite Prime Minister Sirima Bandaranaike demanding that this conference be held in the capital Colombo instead. On January 10th, Assistant Superintendent of Police Chandrasekhara led a truck of 40 anti-riot police officers into the conference and started attacking the crowd. The police shot at the overhead electrical wires, of which the now exposed live ends fell down to the level of the crowd and electrocuted people.
Oh my
7 of the 11 people that died that day were electrocuted. In 1975, Prabhakaran and his associates, as part of the Tamil New Tigers, assassinated the mayor of Jaffna, Alfred Duraiappa. The Tamil mayor of Jaffna, who had joined Sirima's SLFP in order to try and get government funds directed towards Jaffna through official means. However, the Tamil militant groups at the time had a different perspective. Alfred Duraiappa was part of the ruling party that had sent police into a conference about research on the Tamil language and killed roughly 11 innocent people. Because of what they regarded as complicity in an attack on Tamils, the Tamil militant groups, including the Tamil New Tigers, had branded Alfred as a traitor. The following year, in a secret location, Prabhakaran, Uma Maheswaran, and several dozen others gathered and proceeded to officially rename the Tamil New Tigers. The new name, the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, infamously known as the LTTE or Tamil Tigers.
Crazy.
In 1980,
that flag is so badass.
Infamously known as the LTTE or
holy shit,
Tamil
that's
Tigers.
Wild.
In 1980, the People's Liberation Organization of Tamil Eelam, or PLOT, was formed as a splinter group from the LTTE by Uma Maheswaran, who was trained in Lebanon and Syria by the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, or PFLP. The following year, members of TULF, the party that signed...
It's considered the official flag of Tamil Eelam. That's so sick. That's a really badass flag.
The Vatukotte resolution calling for an independent Tamil Eelam held a rally where 2 police officers were shot by members of PLOT. That very same night, police and fascist paramilitaries destroyed TULF's office, the Jaffna Member of Parliament's residence, many business establishments, and a local Tamil Hindu temple. They pulled 4 people from their homes at random and killed them. The following night, the cops and fascist paramilitaries set the Jaffna Public Library ablaze.
Then, Jaffna's most loved building was set alight.
I was able to see the library going on flames. So my feeling was that we are losing a treasure. And I was threatened that if I refuse to abide by the orders of the, I may be harmed, I may not even be shot, he said. And seeing those collections in flames and realizing that the whole thing cannot be retrieved, it was terrible trauma in my mind when I was standing and looking at this. It was really a cultural genocide. The burning was a cultural genocide.
Yeah, I mean, libraries, universities, these are usual targets of fucking fascists and occupiers and ethnic cleansers. We were just talking yesterday about the fucking library or the Research Institute of Sexology or whatever in fucking Germany in the 30s that Asmongold was like, you know, not a big deal or whatever. His whole chat was like, gotta hand it to the Nazis for that one because they were queer. Anyway.
Over 97,000 volumes of books, along with numerous culturally important and irreplaceable manuscripts, were destroyed. To understand the magnitude of cultural genocide at play here, let's take a step back to understand Tamil culture. The beating heart of Tamil culture is the language, and as a result, the literature plays a big role in Tamil culture. Tamil is one of the few remaining written classical languages in the world, whose history extends about a couple thousand years into the past. Whoa. There are words in the Torah that you recite in your synagogue that are loanwords from Tamil. There are words that the pharaohs Ptolemy and Cleopatra themselves used that were gifts from the trade with the Tamil Pandyan dynasty. Imagine if some of the lost works of Plato were available in exactly one library only for ethno-nationalists to burn them to a crisp. One of the men responsible for orchestrating the torching of the Jaffna Public Library was none other than the Minister of Mahawali Development, Gamini Dissanayake, the man responsible for spearheading Sinhala settler colonies in the Tamil-dominated Northeast.
Yeah, Asmongold said they burned the library because the words were written in Jewish. Not because they were gay. The Nazis hated Jews, but they weren't homophobic. Crazy.
This craven act of cultural genocide, where irreplaceable cultural artifacts that date hundreds if not thousands of years back were intentionally destroyed, was the point of no return for the Tamil nationalist militant groups. This set the stage for Black July. On July 23, 1983, the Tamil Tigers ambushed the Sri Lankan army in Tirunelveli near Jaffna, killing a total of 15 members of the Sri Lankan military. The following night, in response, a band of Sri Lankan soldiers left Palali, and on the way to the town of the ambush, they destroyed all the Tamil-owned shops. Jesus. They also massacred over 60 Tamil civilians in Jaffna, an event that was never broadcast or mentioned on Sinhala language television. In the southern Sri Lankan capital of Colombo, the anti-Tamil pogroms had begun. Over the next few days, high-ranking Sri Lankan government officials would provide Sinhalese nationalist mobs with voter rolls containing the locations of all Tamils living in Colombo, as well as Tamil-run shops.
Definitely proportional. The disproportionality is the point. Think about like October 7th. I mean, there was fucking like 16, 18 months of genocide that's still going on, both in Gaza and the West Bank, as a result of Israel fucking purposefully fumbling their own security, allowing a fucking rave next to a concentration camp, and then killing their own civilians under the Hannibal Directive. Anytime an occupier faces losses of their own, they will exact those losses tenfold onto their victims. Every time, whether it's Native Americans, Tamils, Gazans, or Palestinians, the purpose is to set an example, and it's fucking evil.
Sinhalese Buddhist nationalists, using these voter rolls, would then proceed to burn Tamil homes and shops to the ground. Tamils all across the country would be attacked by Sinhala Buddhist nationalist mobs. Whether one was an Elam Tamil whose origins lie in the northeast, otherwise known as Elam, whether one was a Malayaga Tamil whose ancestors were forcibly brought to Sri Lanka to work tea plantations, or a Tamil born and raised in Colombo, none was safe. To give you an idea of what happened throughout the island, Here are a couple of instances of violence against Tamils that happened across Sri Lanka. On July 25th, in the afternoon, a Tamil survivor witnessed a Sinhala mob gang raping and killing 2 Tamil sisters aged 18 and 11. The older sister went on her knees and begged the mob not to harm her 11-year-old sister, who was then hacked to death and then decapitated in front of the 18-year-old while the mob laughed with derision. The 18-year-old was then gang raped by about 20 Sinhala men before being burned alive. The witness also reported seeing several naked Tamil rape victims in a Colombo refugee camp who had been stripped of their clothes on the streets and were being ogled at by Sri Lankan soldiers. A young store worker was forced to watch the gang rape of his mother by a mob of Sinhalese ethno-nationalists who hit him and his mother every time.
He's DMing you? Alright, that's a perma. Sorry about that, Arun. That's not okay.
He tried to close his eyes. His mother was then killed, and he was told, quote, "This is what Tamil whores deserve."
Jesus.
He then later joined the Tamil Tigers and became a local leader in the organization. Here are a couple of eyewitness accounts of the pogrom all across the island.
While traveling on a bus when a mob laid siege to it, passengers watched as a small boy was hacked to limbless death. The bus driver was ordered to give up a Tamil. He pointed out a woman who was desperately trying to erase the mark on her forehead called a kumkum as thugs bore down on her. The woman's belly was ripped open with a broken bottle and she was immolated as people clapped and danced. While all this was going on, a line of Buddhist monks appeared, arms flailing, their voices raised in a delirium of exhortation, summoning the Sinhalese to put all Tamils to death.
A few minutes after arriving in Sri Lanka last month, I was sitting on the pavement outside the airport, watching the birds and the dragonflies. A Sinhalese youth sat down beside me, apparently keen to talk about the recent violence against the country's Tamils. "Tamils all gone from Colombo now," he said, with a broad grin. "Tamil shops all burned. Perhaps all Tamil people will go to India now." His tone was gleefully triumphant. "Sri Lanka is for Sinhalese people," he concluded.
அதை 6:30 போல் இருக்கும் நுகைகுடை சந்தியில் யாழ்ப்பாணத்து வாழைப்பழ கடை எரிந்து கொண்டிருந்தது. இருட்டான புகை கிளம்பி கொண்டிருந்தது.
பலருக்கு அடி விழுந்தது. பலரிடம் நகைகள், மோதிரங்கள், பெறுமதியான பொருட்கள் பறிக்கப்பட்டன. அந்த இடத்துல இந்த பார்க்கைகள்லாம் வெங்கலம் ரோட்ல 2-3 கார் நிப்பாட்டப்பட்டு அது நொறுக்கப்பட்டிருந்தது. அதில் இருந்த 4-5 பேர் பெரிய இவரோட பார்த்து சாத்தி வைக்கப்பட்டிருந்தார்கள். அவங்க வந்துட்டார்களா அல்லது பயன்பட்டிருந்தார்களா என்று பார்க்க முடியல. எங்களுக்கு நாங்கள் திரும்பி என் கோயிலடிக்கு வந்து அங்கே இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த இரவு வந்து கோயிலாமல் தாங்கி இருந்தவர்கள் எல்லாருக்கும் நான் சொன்ன பேச்சு நடந்து கொண்டிருந்தது. இந்த இடம் பெரிதும் நடக்கலாம். ஒரு 9:30-10 மணி போல திடீரென்று ரெண்டு ட்ரக்கில் ஆட்கள் வந்து வாங்கினாங்க. வாங்கி ஒவ்வொரு தடியால் பொருள்கள் இரும்பு கம்பியலோட வந்து தாக்க ஆரம்பித்தார்கள். வாசல்ல ஐயருடைய வீட்டில் ஐயருக்கு துடையில் ஒரு அடி விழுந்தது. விழுந்த உடனே கத்திக்கொண்டு வந்தார்கள். மரப்பாம் என்ற வார்த்தைகளோடு வந்திருந்தார்கள். வந்து அந்த கோயிலை சுத்த வருகிற வீடுகள் கதவுகள் எல்லாம் மாட்டி துடைக்கப்பட்டது. அந்த சம நேரத்தில் எங்களுக்கு வெங்கலம் ரோடு பக்கத்தில் இருந்தும் அவல குரல்கள் ஐயோ அம்மா என்ற அவல குரல்கள் கேட்டுக்கொண்டிருந்தது. எங்களுக்கு பார்க்க முடியல அந்த மதில் இருந்தபடியினால.
தமிழர்களை கொல்ல வேண்டும் என்ற கோஷம் எழுப்பிக் கொண்டு கோபத்தோடு கொந்தளிப்போடு அவர்கள் போய்கொண்டிருப்பதை நாங்கள் அவதானிக்கக்கூடியதாக இருந்தது.
23 ஜூலை ஆகஸ்ட் மட்டும் இல்லை, தொடர்ந்து அதனால் என்ன திடீர்னு பாம்பு பிளாஸ்ட் வரும். என்ன சரி ஒரு பிரச்சனை வரும் தானே.
මල්ටි ෂොප්යක් ඒක කඩලා ඒ වීදුරු ඔක්කොම ගල්ලා එතන තිබුණේ බඩු ටික ඔක්කොම පාරේ වීස් වෙලා තිබුණා විසිරලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි 10ට විතර ඔෆිස් ගියා. ඔෆිස් ගියාට පස්සේ ආරංචි වුණා මේම මිනිස්සු මරනවා කියලා ආරංචියක් වුණා. කොළඹ එමතනම මම හිතන්නේ කොළඹ 80 විදිය විතර ඉතුරුනේ. අනිත් කඩවල් ඔක්කොම ගිනි තියලා මිනිස්සු 150ක් විතර මරලා තියනවා කියලා ආරංචියක් වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි
One method of determining whether or not someone on the street was a Tamil or Sinhala was the use of word testing. Sinhala Buddhist nationalist mobs would demand a suspected Tamil person say a word in the Sinhala language. If that person had a Tamil accent or was unable to say the word, they were beaten to death on the spot. During all of this, in the Welikara high security prison in Colombo, 53 Tamil prisoners were murdered by Sinhalese prisoners, something no one has been convicted for until today. We don't have a solid figure on how many people died in the Black July pogroms. According to the Sri Lankan government, the death toll is merely in the hundreds, while the Tamil Center for Human Rights states that roughly 5,500 to 6,000 people were brutally murdered that week. Men, women, and children were sexually violated that entire week, then promptly set on fire, ripped open with broken beer bottles, or hacked to death and decapitated with machetes. Remember that quote at the beginning about starving the Tamil people? The person that said that was none other than former Prime Minister and now President J.R. Jayawardena, who accelerated the Mahaweli colonization effort in the Northeast. He said that in the aftermath of the Black July pogroms. This was the event horizon, the point of no return. This was the event that marked the beginning of the 26-year-long armed conflict known around the world as the Sri Lankan Civil War. Over the next 2.5 decades, the Sri Lankan government, military, police forces, and paramilitary organizations, with hardware bought from all over the world, would commit unspeakable atrocities against Tamil civilians. This was part 1 of a 3-part docuseries documenting and summarizing the ongoing atrocities against the Tamils committed by the Sri Lankan government. The following part 2, covers the wartime period known as the Sri Lankan Civil War or the Elam War, starting in 1983 and reaching its brutal end in 2009. Subscribe to the Arunano channel for more.
Arunano, friend of the show. Give him a sub, give him a like, watch the video. This was an incredible first part of the documentary. I look very much forward to seeing more. This was so informative. Thank you, Arun, for linking this and sharing this and making this. Part 2 will be uncensored. I'll give timestamps to every streamer. Thank you. I'll definitely be watching the rest on stream. That was great. I think, yeah, here's the link. I think it's pinned as well. I'll post it in chat. I'm going to take a quick pee break. I think Ronan has to go out as well. Oh my God. He is such a wine baby, dude. He wants to go out every 5 minutes. It's so cold today. Anyway, give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. We'll come back. Let's do some Dress to Impress.
I'm gay. Logan Paul is my savior.
90 Day Fiance.
KSI is my favorite. I want to watch Lil Nas X. I like what's on the trending page.
Oh, fuck. It's gone.
And I'm gay. Logan Paul is my savior.
Ronan's pissed.
KSI is my favorite. I want to watch Lil Nas X. I like what's on the trend.
Beat my meat. Lock me down. Inject me. Inject again. I'm gay, trans, and I am boosted. Fauci is my savior. Hillary is woke. She-Hulk is my favorite movie.
Muted. Sorry. I still had my mute on. I still got my mute on. I put a button on my soundboard to mute, but I never have it like close enough to me. I'm always like way back here. Battle station style. Silenced as a woman, yeah. I wanted to thank you guys for being here. Thank you again to Arun for making that video. Understandable if he's not still here, but this was great. Again, all subscribes. We can't hear you? Okay. I don't know if he's posted anything else. Oh, yeah. Other Indian South Asian politics. That's also what he mainly covers on Twitch. We can hear you now. Thank you. Have you ever played any Persona games? No. Are we doing fan art Sunday? No, I did fan art yesterday. W Hassan take as usual.
You can eat 2 slices of pizza and stop eating pizza at that fucking point. We are not the same type of organism. We are not living on the same planet.
What does he mean
by
by
not the
this?
Same type of organism. It's literally fucking cheese and bread, okay? It is the easiest thing to consume. It demands you to eat the entire thing, okay? It's just sitting there. It's gonna get cold. Actually, fuck it. It's even good when it's cold. I'm not even gonna bring up the one slice people because I don't even think they're people. You're a fucking lizard. If you can eat one slice of pizza and be done with it, you're a lizard. If you can eat 2 slices of pizza and be done with it, you're fucking weird. Maybe not the same species, but definitely, maybe you're not an alien. I don't get it. But that's just me.
I like 2 pieces of pizza.
Don't fucking say discipline. Shut up.
It starts
that
back
is not
up.
Discipline, it's magic. Okay? Anyone that says, oh, it's discipline, shut the fuck up. Okay? That is not discipline.
That's awesome.
It is an entirely separate thing. I do not want to hear that this is something that you worked hard to achieve. Like, fuck you. No, you didn't. You did not work hard to achieve that. Okay? It's privilege and you should know it.
To only be able to eat 2 pieces of pizza. Sometimes you have 2 pieces and you don't want any more because it's greasy and gross. And you want some later. Yeah, I get full. Ever heard of it? You have bad pizza then? I get good pizza. Sometimes I'll eat more than 2 pieces. But usually it's just 2. If I'm really hungry, I'll eat more. What was your opinion on my Glorprum and Norm masterpiece? I missed fan art. It should be in the vlog, whatever.
You couldn't have been too impressed with our capital. It looks like shit.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I remember. You look very pretty today. Thank you. I'm about to get pretty. In Dress to Impress. Hassan thinks you're a lizard. True. Yeah, we're playing now. It says installing Roblox, but I have it installed. I already have it installed. It's lying to me. It means update? Oh. We did it. 2 times weekend? Did they do that? Do I earn double points? Oh wait, I just joined a random one. Valentine's Part 2? Wait, leave. Wait, were they doing doubles? What the fuck was that? Roblox private server link, private stink. Hang on. There's too much Roblox going on. It's loading. Open. Let me in. 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 Let me into Roblox. Let me into Impress. Roblox has crashed. Roblox. Crash blocks. Roblox. They're trying to censor me. They're trying to make it so I can't dress to impress. Same account launched from a different device. What does that even mean? Google Chrome is my different device, apparently. It's just a random error. Fuck Google Chrome. Hell yeah. We're back. Hamilton Simulator? Yeah, what about it? Is it Is it working? Is this the game? This update sucks. Let me restart the server. Wait, what? What do you mean new to Roblox app? I've been... What? I'm a hardcore Roblox player. You're winning! That's it. I'm playing Hamilton Simulator till you get this figured out. Well, I'm number 2 on the fucking Hamilton servers. Check it out. I'm a fucking Roblox Hamilton millionaire. I grinded the fuck on this game for a video that I never made. Hey! Boost notes. Bonus damage. Okay. Get a reward? Okay, Christ. I don't remember how to play. So this is I have 2 George Washingtons, 2 Maria Reynolds, and 1 Eliza Schuyler. Or Schuler, or whatever. None left. Insufficient funds for Eliza's dress. Get in here? Well, have you considered that I'm really liking Roblox Hamilton? Experience? Hamilton Simulator? This is what it's like when you're Hamilton. There's a lot of little guys around. Why do you collect them? Well, this is my party. And you use them to fight these guys by clicking on them. See, he fucking exploded. This is Hamilton Simulator. My guys are really strong. 2 George Washington's legendary status. What's your name, man? I turned the music off, but yeah. Usually it's just a lot of music. Bonus damage. They didn't have that when I was playing. I could have used that shit. I haven't made it to independent New York yet, though. It's 50 million gold to get there, and I only have 2.9 million gold. Kill him, George Washington. Kill him. Nice. Now I have to do that like 100 more times. This game's awesome, right? It's like actually good. No, it's not. It sucks. It's just grinding. You just click on shit until you have 50 million coins. It sucks balls. I just clicked on another random server again. House MD Obby? What is that even? Here. Private server. Open. 50 hemtillion coins. Yeah. There we go. Now we're back. We're so back. Wait, daredevils and troublemakers. Okay. Here I go. First of all, oh, I thought that was a mannequin. First of all, I need boots. Daredevils and troublemakers. Okay, we're back. I'm going with Fedora guy. How do you be a troublemaker? What makes trouble? These pants are wild. They can't be put on though. Okay, I like that. That's fire. These maybe? What shirt though? I need a troublemaker style shirt. Or a daredevil style shirt. Fuck. There's nothing. This is okay, I guess. Dress up as Lex. Wait, what? She's not reading chat. I only have so much time. Dress up as me. How do I do that? I guess you are a daredevil and troublemaker. You should know. Sword. It should be easy. I'm already most of the way there. That's what Lex looks like. Damn, what do you mean damn? Gray. No, I'm working on it. They don't have the skin tubes in here. Oh, I can just walk through that, I guess.
He made a speedrun TikTok of Tiles killing cops and SPLEC edit between footage of me drawing as promo for my game. Please watch it, please. It hard to make. He ate the Tiles levels, please. Mama Fettuccine URL.
I can watch it later. Tails killing cops. I didn't know he did that. He murdered. He can. What the fuck? No, I didn't want that. I need a hairstyle. Please. Fuck. Hacker. I'm hacking. I'm in. I need shoes! No! Shoes! That's not shoes. Fuck! I fucked up. Is this Daredevil? Or is this just a ninja? This is pretty good though. Left her dogs out. I ran out of time. I joined late. Pro gamer girl, I know. Yeah, dogs out. The most daring you could ever be. Four stars. Love it. I like the knife. Her Lex up dogs are out. Oh no. I did my best. I did my best with the time constraints. Damn, that one's good. Fuck. That's kind of what I wanted to do. Fuck. That's me. That's how I feel. Destroyed you. Shut the fuck up. Rumpelstiltskin from Shrek. I ran out of time. Holy shit. That is a troublemaker if I've ever seen one. Zero for just the Trump moan alone. Stop. You can't rate 0 stars. This one's pretty good. I like the knife though. For murdering purposes, yeah. You can throw it. Why did everyone wear? I guess because it has devil horns. Like half of the people I feel like wore this little beanie. The face is crazy. I like it. This is giving Hot Topic core. Pretty good gives them a 2. Yeah, 2 out of 5. What do you mean? That's a 4 out of 10. Censored immediately. I don't know what happened here. Did you run out of time? No face, no skin, no shoes. Yes. Well, I ran out of time too, so I also can't. I can't talk. Knuckles? I like Knuckles. You have no shoes. I ran out of time. This is Beetlejuice? Zero stars didn't make Knuckles black. True. A robber. Yeah, you went to jail. You're so evil. Damn it. I fucked up so bad. It's okay, though. Pose. Up dogs out. 0 stars? Come on, you're not even... Don't do this to me. Okay, that's good. My fucking feet. I left them out on accident.
Don't be rude.
Blue hair and pronouns. W. Toes out 0 stars. You guys, your rating system is fucked up. I'm gonna be honest. I don't believe in what you're saying. In the double hockey, oh, in hell. HE double hockey sticks. In hell. Your rating system is fucked up. Aw, come on. Just because I didn't have shoes on? Neither did Rumpelstiltskin. What the fuck? 7th? Really? It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I told everybody give you 0 stars. That's sabotage. You can't split them up like that. Can everyone else see this? Or is it just me? Ah! My eyes! It's just me? Fuck. I'm embarrassed. Women are like Jesus. Is there any secrets to discover? In the Christmas one, I fell down like a hole and was in like the back rooms. Can I do that here? Someone put the theme as Dungeons and Dragons. Oh my god. What was going on there? You should still make the Roblox Hamilton video. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Dungeons and Dragons, hang on. Wait, where's my outfit stuff? What the fuck? Code. Night? Whoa. Let's turn on high graphics. Look at these graphics, dude. They're lagging now. What's Dungeons and Dragons? Wait, how do I take off my clothes? I can't take them off anymore? What happened? They changed the game? Oh, here it is. They moved it. I need a D&D style haircut, kind of like this, I guess. Yeah. That's nice. We like to see that stuff. I guess I could start with shoes this time. Yeah, maybe I want to wear fishnets in D&D. Maybe D&D can have some sluts in it. Okay? Maybe it's not a big deal to do that. Why can't I open the Brat Apple? D&D is full of sluts. Why is the Brat Apple being gatekept? That seems fucked up to do. I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. I think the cape is a need, though. I'll say that much. Elf with a cape. What else do you even need for D&D? It's not even like there's like nothing else you can even do anymore after that. Bow and arrow. Ranger. It's like a Cupid bow. I kind of don't like it, but whatever. Ranger. Fuck. What is this shirt? Wait. I'm confused. Ranger. And the sword. I like the sword better. Ranger with a sword. Sometimes a ranger can have a sword too. Need some like pants. Can't put those on. I guess these. I need more accessories and shit. Hang on. Oh, it's under my shirt. That sucks. I need like a belt. Please change the cape color. Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. I didn't even think about that. I'll just make it darker. That's probably fine. Fuck. I'm panicking. I want a belt. Can we make the time limit like 20 minutes? It takes a long time. It takes a long time to build an outfit, and not a lot of people know that. To really do it right, you know? Fuck. Whatever, good enough, I think. I'm kind of like if Zelda was in Dungeons and Dragons. I don't fucking know, man. I tried. It looks like shit. Whatever, man. Whatever. I like it. My pants. This is good. This is really good. Ice Queen boss that kills you. It's good, okay? It's good. I don't even need to see it anymore. Get it out. I like the dual wielding. It isn't super D&D though, to be honest. Censored. The fishnets, the skirt, I don't know. It's not very like period accurate, honestly, to history where D&D takes place. What, they have a shield? I didn't know they had a shield. I fucked up huge. D&D takes place at any time? No, it takes place in medieval times. It's based on history. Somebody doesn't know anything. I'm joking. That's good. It's like a green forest fairy. Didn't finish, but you get the idea. Okay. Yeah, D&D takes place in fantasy. The fantasy era of history. Oh, it's She-Hulk. Goblin Bard / Rouge. She-Hulk, my favorite movie. I meant to say I'm the fairy queen set up to fight capitalism. Yeah, they censored you for that. I like this too. I should have done a goblin. That's probably would have been a better idea. See, that's what I need, like 10 minutes of prep time. I need like 10 minutes of prep time for my outfit. That way, in case I go back on it, I can, you know, just try something else. 20 minutes of prep time. So just in case. That's part of the challenge. It's too hard. Sometimes I have an idea and then I just don't want to do it anymore and I want to do something else. It's Tinkerbell. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons isn't really Tinkerbell, but Tinkerbell is the fairy of porn. According to Jordan Peterson. Jordan's Peterson. So I thought it was good. Tinklebell. Whoa, how did you even do this? V. I am the dungeon. Yeah, with one spider web. Honestly, nailed it. I like that. Here I am. Come on, guys, give me 5 stars. I tried really hard to make it look like a pirate queen, kind of. Like if Zelda was a boy or something. She kind of slay. It's not the worst. Why are the bottoms brown? What do you mean? She's a rogue adventurer. This is pretty good. I like the texture on this. I should have done the texture. I could have looked at the textures. And I fish? Yeah, kind of. I could have looked at the textures and I didn't. See, this is what I mean. Nobody finished. We need a 10-minute. Give me your money. Yeah, I'm rating you 1 star for robbing me. They didn't have a good face. I don't find any of these hot. Yeah, Hank, you're a gay man. Furry. I like the halberd. I don't know why she's pink, but I'll take it. God damn it. I'm so bad at Dress to Impress.